Chapter 51-41. What? Someone came out? Heavens, who is it? They looked carefully and were shocked. Is Lin Wuti? He didn't die? He actually came back alive. Quickly report to the family. These people were shocked and quickly left. They wanted to personally report this news to the family. Half a year ago, Yunhai and Lin Wuti fought at the pinnacle. Lin Wuti killed Yunhai, but immediately after, he attracted heaven's punishment. Then, millions of miles of space became a forbidden area. No one dared to cross the line. This news naturally spread. In half a year, the entire Yuhan continent knew about it. Even the Holy Abyss ancient city knew about the situation. They were not worried. Some people sneered. Encountering heaven's punishment meant certain death. People like the Dragon Palace and the Blue Race heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Wuti finally fell. On the Yuhan continent side, the people of the Thunder clan sneered. The people of the Destiny clan gritted their teeth. Although Lin Wuti fell, they also lost Yunhai. He was the young master. More importantly, Lin Wuti's fall had nothing to do with them. They could not get anything from Lin Xian. Especially the extreme weapon and cultivation technique inheritance. Those were all things that made them jealous. But now they were all buried in heaven's punishment. No one dared to take them. They constantly sent people to investigate. As long as heaven's punishment disappeared, they would send their strongest forces to snatch the extreme weapon, heaven-devouring jar. In fact, it was not only them. The other families also had their eyes on the heaven-devouring jar. Once they got the extreme weapon, they would have the qualifications to challenge the emperor clans and become the true overlords of the universe. On this day, news finally came back. The people who went to investigate came back personally. Patriarch, there's news. Someone from the Destiny clan landed and roared. The Destiny clan's patriarch came out with a group of elders. Did heaven's punishment disappear? The saint nodded frantically and disappeared. Heaven's punishment disappeared. That's great. The Destiny clan's patriarch's eyes burst out with a sharp light. Let's go. This time, I want to snatch the heaven-devouring jar personally. The surrounding elders quickly formed hand seals to summon their experts. However, the saint shook his head. No, Patriarch, you can't go. What's wrong? Has it already been taken by someone else? The fake clan leader frowned. Who was it that moved so quickly? The saint said that the heavenly punishment had disappeared, but Lin Wuti had not died. He had walked out alive. What did you say? The fake clan leader was stunned, and so were the others. Lin Wuti didn't die? How was this possible? The fake clan's clan leader grabbed the saint's neck and roared madly. He attracted the wrath of the heavens, and you say he didn't die? The saint was so scared that he started crying. He said in a trembling voice, I don't know either. But the people we left there to investigate all saw Lin Wuti come out alive. The other families should have received the news by now. Damn it, how could it be like this? The fake clan leader roared crazily as the 9 heavens and 10 earths shattered. He was furious. His son had fallen, but the other party was still alive? Not only the fake clan, but the Thunder clan and the Divine Fire clan were also shocked when they heard the news. None of them believed it. When the Heavenly Rock race received the news, they were even more shocked. Bailey Wux's eyes shone with a positive light. The other party was still alive. How did he avoid the wrath of the heavens? Damn it. Did he break through and become the great sage? The Heavenly Rock guard said. He wasn't sure as he was too far away. However, he didn't feel a strong aura. Maybe he didn't break through. The Heavenly Rock race leader also said that if he didn't break through, then he might really be able to avoid the wrath of the heavens. However, if that was the case, he wouldn't be able to advance for the rest of his life. Wuck, you are different from him. Although you lost to him this time, your future is bright. As long as you are given some time, you can break through and become the great sage. You can even become the peak of the late stage of the great sage. As for him, he would always be a saint king. The gap between you two will only get bigger and bigger. Soon, you will be able to trample him under your feet. That's right. Hearing this, Bailey Wuck clenched his fists. Yes, the other party couldn't break through anymore, but he could continue to advance. The gap between them would only get bigger and bigger. Just wait, he would use the fastest speed to break through and become the great sage. When the Phoenix clan received the news, they also couldn't believe it. Are you sure he came back alive? The Phoenix clan leader was surprised. That's right. The guard who came to report nodded. What else did the Phoenix clan leader want to say? At this moment, the guard who was guarding the mountain gate rushed over and said, reporting to the patriarch, someone has come. Who is it? The Phoenix clan leader asked. The guard said that it was Lin Wuti. What? Did you say that he came? The Phoenix clan leader was shocked. Quickly go and invite him over. At the same time, he quickly sent out a notice. The elders who informed him, Feng Jiu and even Murong Qingqing and the old phoenix. These people all knew. Feng Jiu was stunned when she heard about it. Really? She hurried over. Murong Qingqing was overjoyed. She was so excited that she was about to cry. Great Brother Shen was fine. The old phoenix also felt that it was unbelievable. Was there really a way to avoid the wrath of the heavens? He also wanted to see it with his own eyes. In an instant, everyone gathered in the Phoenix Hall. While they were waiting anxiously, a figure walked over. He was wearing a black robe and had a handsome face. His expression was calm and there was a confident smile on his face. That's right, Lin Wudi. It was this guy. Countless powerhouses of the Phoenix clan were in an uproar. The roof of the hall was about to be overturned. The old phoenix arrived in front of Lin Xian like lightning. She grabbed Lin Xian and looked at him carefully. Are you really still alive? The Phoenix clan leader also came personally. An extremely cold aura erupted from his eyes. How did you avoid the wrath of the heavens? Wait, that's not right. Your aura isn't that of the great sage. Could it be that you haven't broken through? When these words came out, the crowd was in an uproar. They had been so shocked by the fact that Lin Xian was still alive that they had forgotten to check his cultivation level. Now that they looked carefully, they realized that his cultivation was very strange. It was a little mysterious, but it was completely different from the great sage's aura that they knew. After thinking about it, they realized that he hadn't broken through to the great sage. Could it be that he hadn't broken through to avoid the wrath of the heavens? Feng Jiu also walked over. Lin Xian looked at these people and said, It's a long story. You can think of it that way too. He couldn't explain it. What could he say? He had already broken through to the great sage? If that was the case, it would be even more difficult to explain. So he hadn't broken through. Feng Jiu heaved a sigh of relief. The Phoenix clan leader and the others also felt relieved. If he had broken through and avoided the wrath of the heavens, it would be too terrifying. If he hadn't broken through, it would be understandable. At the same time, they also frowned slightly. If that was the case, wouldn't it mean that he would only be a sage ruler for the rest of his life and would never be able to break through? It seemed that this was the end of the road for this genius. Thinking of this, many people shook their heads. Even Feng Yu's eyes lit up. Chapter 51-42. The Phoenix clan leader's eyes were also filled with disappointment. This was the end of the young supreme being with no future. He didn't need to pay too much attention to him. Hence, the gathering ended quickly and everyone left the Phoenix main hall. Lin Xian didn't care. He followed Murong Qingqing and the rest back to his territory. Murong Qingqing threw herself into Lin Xian's arms. Lin Xian smiled and comforted her. Didn't I come back safely? Young master, did you really not break through? You can't break through in the future? Yinyu asked. She had been here all this time. The dark red dragon said. How could it be? If this kid didn't break through, he wouldn't be smiling so happily. The toad also said, Show us your strength and let us see. The old phoenix was also there. She looked at Lin Xian with flickering eyes. Qingqing said, You have a way. Do you really have a way? Lin Xian looked at the old phoenix with a complicated expression. Murong Qingqing said, It's okay. Master is on our side. Lin Xian nodded and said, I did break through to the great sage. It was just that there were some changes in my aura. As for the specifics, he couldn't explain it. He broke through. Hearing this, Yunyu was shocked. The old phoenix was also surprised. Why, you don't believe it? Lin Xian looked at Yunyu and said, Attack me with all your strength. Yunyu said, Really? Lin Xian said, Don't worry. Alright, I won't hold back then. Yunyu shouted and attacked with both palms. One side was sacred while the other was demonic. This was an all-out attack. Even a great sage wouldn't be able to withstand it. However, Lin Xian stood there unmoved. With a clang, Yunyu was pushed back. Her arms were numb. However, Lin Xian's body didn't have any cracks at all. How could it be? Yunyu couldn't believe it. The old phoenix's pupils shrank. What a strong physique. You did break through. That's right. Lin Xian laughed. With a wave of his hand, the yin-yang image appeared and shrouded Yunyu. Yunyu was instantly enveloped, unable to resist at all. How could this be? She felt despair. Previously, although she had lost to Lin Xian, she had only been suppressed after exchanging 1,000 blows. But now, her opponent was able to suppress her with a single move. If the other party wanted to kill her, wouldn't he be able to do it with just a finger? The other party had really broken through. It was too terrifying. Yunyu lowered her head. From now on, she would respect young master. Although she was also a top-notch genius, she was nothing more than an ant in front of Lin Xian. Lin Xian withdrew the yin-yang diagram and nodded. Old Phoenix also sighed. It seems that they have underestimated you. Even I have underestimated you, young master. I don't have any other requests now. I just hope that in the future, even if you and Feng Jiu become enemies, you can show mercy and spare her life in the end. Lin Xian nodded. Senior, don't worry. I won't kill Feng Jiu. That's good. Old Phoenix also heaved a sigh of relief. She could already foresee the expressions of those top-notch geniuses and princesses when Lin Xian displayed his true strength. She had previously guessed which disciple had entered the great sage realm in advance. But she didn't expect it to be this young man in front of her. Senior, I hope you can keep the matter of my breakthrough a secret because I have to return to deal with a powerful enemy. I don't want him to get the news in advance and escape. Don't worry, I understand. We won't interfere too much in the affairs of you youngsters. Then Old Phoenix left. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing gathered together. The two of them had endless things to talk about. Meanwhile, a storm was brewing outside. Did you hear? Lin Wudi didn't die. He came back alive. What? The final victor was still Lin Wudi. That's right. He was really too powerful. Had he broken through to become the great sage? Who in the younger generation could be his opponent? No. According to reliable sources, Lin Wudi's aura is still that of a sage king. He didn't break through. No wonder. I was wondering how he could avoid Sky's punishment. It turns out that he didn't break through. Can he still break through in the future? It's difficult. It's said that his path has come to an end. Voices of discussion rang out one after another. The news spread throughout the Yuhan continent. Countless people were discussing it. Some people sighed. Lin Wudi would probably become history. When this news spread to wholly distant ancient city, countless people exclaimed in surprise. The people of Dragon Palace gritted their teeth. Damn it. This kid didn't die. But soon they sneered. He was abandoned by an immortal. With the threat of Sky's punishment, he could forget about breaking through in this lifetime. Ah. The people of Blue Race laughed. They saw hope. As long as the Dragon Prince broke through and became the great sage, killing Lin Wudi would be as easy as flipping his hand. The people of Golden Crow tribe and Zifu tribe sneered. It wouldn't be long before they could get rid of a peerless enemy. On the other side, the people of Nalan family, Duga family and Fire Dragon tribe frowned. Was Lin Xian really stagnant? This was very bad news for them. The people of Divine Union shook their heads frantically. It was impossible. Boss Lin must have a way. Yes, so what if he was from the immortal graveyard? Boss Lin had cultivated to the Sage King realm. He definitely had a way to break through. Cultivation. These people clenched their fists. No matter what, they would advance and retreat together with Lin Xian. In a sacred mountain range. Hundreds of people were farming there. They were cultivating spiritual herbs. Those spiritual herbs were crystal clear and each of them was priceless. If they could be taken outside, one of them would be enough to make countless great sage go crazy. Beside the herb field there was a lake. A lady was sitting beside the lake. She was wearing a white robe and looked like a fairy. At this moment, she was holding a scroll and her eyes were shining. He avoided the heavenly punishment and didn't break through? This guy, he actually managed to deceive everyone in the world? This lady was none other than Yen Ruyu. The news she had was about Lin Xian's deeds in the Yuhan continent. She knew that Lin Xian was someone who had been abandoned by the immortal realm. However, she didn't believe that he hadn't broken through. It was just that the people outside didn't know. Then, Yen Ruyu looked at the people who were working in the distance. These people were the only people left in the spirit region. Yen Ruyu's eyes were shining. Their ancestor was a great emperor who had received help from the spirit region. However, they had been unable to protect the spirit region and let it be destroyed. She had sworn that she would take revenge. The 10,000 Dragons Court. The Dragon Prince. He wouldn't let him go. Yen Ryu stood up and her eyes were shining. It seemed like it was time to make a trip. She knew that there would be a battle between Lin Xian and the Dragon Prince. In addition, there was the enmity between the Black Sea Dragons and the 10,000 Dragons Court. Lin Xian would definitely kill the Dragon Prince. Even if Lin Xian could defeat the Dragon Prince after breaking through, it would be too difficult for him to kill the Dragon Prince. Chapter 5143. Lin Xian had half an extreme Dao weapon, the Heaven-Swallowing Jar. She also had an extreme Dao weapon. If the two of them worked together, they might have a chance of killing the Dragon Prince. According to the intel, that kid is returning. It seems like I have to hurry up and prepare. Yen Ryu turned around to prepare endless resources. She wanted to fully awaken the extreme Dao weapon and deal a shocking blow. The Destiny Twins race also received the news. The other party didn't break through? You think you can keep your life if you don't break through? Too naive. Activate Destiny Judgment again to kill that kid. The Destiny clan leader gave the order. Destiny Judgment was activated again. This time it wasn't 100 people. Previously, Destiny Judgment was struck by Heaven's punishment and 20 people fell. Now there were only 80 people left. But even so, it was still a super strong force. Killing a Saint King was as easy as flipping one's hand. He didn't believe that the other party would be able to attract Heaven's punishment this time. Destiny Judgment quickly moved out. On the other side, Lin Xian was living a very leisurely life. After breaking through, he wasn't in a hurry to cultivate or fight. The most important thing was to consolidate his realm, including his cultivation realm and mental state. Murong Qingqing had been by his side, living a carefree and happy life. The dark red dragon and the toad flew over. Kid, the world is talking about you now. Lin Xian put down the spirit wine and smiled. Is that so? They all think that I didn't break through. Thinking about it, this news should have spread to Holy Abyss City. The Dragon Prince didn't have to run anymore. Just wait, I'll give her a huge gift when I get back. The dark red dragon was excited. I thought about how the Dragon Prince was slapped to the ground by you. I can't even sleep. Let's hurry back. The toad also roared at the side. Haha, if the Emperor was easily knocked to the ground, the eyeballs of those people from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty would probably fall to the ground. I really want to see this scene. Murong Qingqing rolled her eyes at the two of them and said, Brother Xian, if you only defeat the Dragon Prince. That's simple. But if you want to kill him, it will be difficult. Murong Qingqing was often with Feng Jiao and the two of them had sparred before. She naturally knew how difficult it was to kill an Emperor-level character. Feng Jiao could summon an extreme weapon now, so could the Dragon Prince. With the supreme weapon, no one could kill the Dragon Prince. Lin Xian nodded. I understand. This time he would beat him up viciously to get his revenge. As for killing him, he would have to plan it well. Right now, I only have half an extreme-grade weapon, and that's not enough. I'm going to borrow another one. Leaf Dao Denier? Murong Qingqing was shocked. The Yi family probably wouldn't join hands with you. Once the Dragon Prince fell, the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty would attack like crazy. The Yi family was not willing to offend such an emperor clan. Murong Qingqing was also worried. Did they have to kill him? One had to know that Lin Xian would be hunted down endlessly if the Dragon Prince died. The 10,000 Dragon Imperial Court was determined to hunt him down. Lin Xian said, You think that if I don't kill him, he won't kill me? Once the Dragon Prince breaks through and becomes the great sage, he will be the first to kill me. Therefore, only one of us can survive. As for the 10,000 Dragon Imperial Court's hunt, let them come. Anyway, I have to step on countless bones on the path of Emperor. If the 10,000 Dragon Imperial Court wants to be a stepping stone, I'll fulfill their wish. I'll go back with you. Murong Qingqing was worried. Don't attack first. I'll go back to Jade Lake and see if I can borrow the Desolate Tower. Lin Xian was delighted. Really? If he had the Desolate Tower, his chances of winning would be higher. But before that, there were still some people to deal with. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with killing intent. Murong Qingqing was stunned. Then she said, Destiny Clan? Do you think they will attack again? Lin Xian said that this group of people would definitely not let the matter rest. I think Destiny ruling is already on the way. This time I'll destroy them completely. As for the Destiny Clan, I'll personally visit them in the future. I'll kill them. Next, Lin Xian let the Dark Red Dragon and the Toad release the news. Even the route of their departure had been released. What he wanted was for Destiny ruling to find them. This was a very terrifying group of people. Taking advantage of the fact that they didn't know that he had broken through, he could catch them off guard. After staying for about half a month, Lin Xian and the others set off. The news of their departure and the route had already been released. Therefore, along the way, Lin Xian and the others were always preparing. The previous few days had been peaceful because they were in the territory of the Phoenix clan. After leaving about 10 days later, their surroundings instantly became cold and gloomy. Countless demonic auras appeared, and the entire world seemed to have turned into Azura hell. They're here. Murong Qingqing frowned. Now that they were far away from the Phoenix clan, these people finally couldn't help but make a move. The Toad snorted coldly. Who are you? Come out. A cold voice sounded between heaven and earth. Stupid ants, you will all go to hell today. 80 dark figures appeared. Their auras were abnormally cold. They were like the god of death, covering the sky and earth. A holy angel descended from the sky, holding a scepter in his hand and speaking coldly. Kneel down and accept your punishment. Destiny adjudication. Looking at this scene, Lin Xian smiled. You guys really came out. His eyes were golden as he looked around. Then he said, only you guys? Only we are enough to deal with you. There's no need for others to do it. The holy angel spoke coldly. You guys should be from the Destiny clan, a powerful and mysterious force. If all of you fall, I wonder how the Destiny clan will react? Lin Xian's voice sounded with a trace of cold killing intent. The people of Destiny Adjudication were stunned when they heard this. Then they burst into laughter. Stupid thing, who do you think you are? You want to fight against us, Destiny Adjudication? Even if you can kill the young master, you are not our match. Even if it was a saint, they would still die in front of us, let alone you. Cut the crap, let's do it. The holy angel waved his scepter. The surrounding people rushed over crazily. Yun Yu's face became serious. This was the mysterious force of the clan. At this moment he was going all out, making her hair stand on end. If it was her, she would probably be killed in an instant. The toad and the dark red dragon also felt their scalps go numb. They didn't have the strength to fight against a sage. Therefore they naturally couldn't resist. Murong Qingqing's expression was serious. Her body was flickering with 7-colored radiance. However, Lin Xian didn't let her make a move. Now that he had broken through, it was a good time to test how strong he was. Come, I hope you guys won't disappoint me. Lin Xian walked out and looked disdainfully in all directions. Stupid thing, 80 hunters rushed over. They turned into 80 peerless abilities and attacked Lin Xian. Chapter 51-44. It was over in one move. The holy angel sneered. The remaining hunters also had cold expressions. Their attacks were foolproof. In the sky, a huge hand tore everything apart. Lin Xian walked out. It's useless. Is this all you've got? How is this possible? The surrounding people were stunned. The holy angel was also shocked. The other party's physique was so strong that it had surpassed that of a sage king. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a smile when he saw their shocked expressions. The next moment he punched out. Six-path fist. It carried an aura of indomitable will. However, its power was more than 10 times stronger than before. Feeling this power, the pupils of Destiny Adjudication's people constricted. They had seen this fist technique before. Lin Xian had used many trump cards in his battle with Yun Hai. They were all very familiar with it. But what was with this power? The other party's power was much stronger than before. It was as if he was a different person. Boom. A heaven-shaking sound rang out. Dozens of hunters were sent flying while vomiting blood. Many of their bodies were shattered and turned into a bloody mist. The remaining people were also terrified. Damn it, impossible. How did you become so strong? They roared crazily. Lin Xian sneered, unmoved. Another palm strike came at him. The next moment, his palm carried boundless demonic chi and turned into a demon god seal. It descended from the sky. Boom boom. An earth-shattering sound rang out. Then dozens of hunters were sent flying while vomiting blood. This time, more than 20 hunters were directly annihilated in body and soul. They were stunned. The people of Destiny Adjudication couldn't believe it. The holy angel's pupils constricted. He roared crazily. Damn it, he was no longer a sage king. He had broken through. He really couldn't explain how the other party had changed so much in just half a year. The only explanation was that the other party had broken through and become a great sage. That was impossible. They had carefully checked the other party's aura. It was very weak. It definitely wasn't the aura of a great sage. Lin Xian laughed. If you can't figure it out, then go to hell to figure it out. He took out the great spear of destruction and moved quickly. The light carried a destructive aura and turned into the light of the demon god, covering the sky and earth. The hunter screamed crazily and fled quickly. They quickly fled. If the other party really broke through and became a great sage, they would be able to escape. In that case, his strength would be greatly increased and might even be more terrifying than a sage. After all, the other party had an extreme weapon. Their information was wrong. They had to hurry back to the clan and tell the news to the clan leader and the old ancestor. They sent out even more terrifying existences. Perhaps this time they would have to send out the peak of the great sage to kill him. Do you want to leave? Don't you think it's already too late? Lin Xian snorted coldly. The power in his body exploded. Endless devil chi surrounded him. The power of the great dragon sword spirit also surged out and transformed into a demonic bow. Arching the bow, demonic arrows flew out, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. With a boom, several hunters were pierced by the demonic swords and nailed to death in the void. No matter where they fled, Lin Xian's Tianji god eyes could lock onto them. Then he used the demonic swords to pierce through them. In an instant, a large number of hunters fell. Damn it. The sacred angel was really angry. He used all his strength and slashed down with the holy heaven scepter in his hand. It was as if he was splitting the sky and earth. The demonic swords were shattered. Lin Xian was also forced to take a step back. His arm was numb and a cold light burst out from his eyes. It seemed that the sacred angel was the strongest among these people. But so what? Go. He waved the great spear of destruction and quickly killed his way out. At the same time, he also used the Hellfire Dragon Sword. The Shura Sword technique appeared and disappeared unpredictably. The Absolute Kill Sword technique caused the sacred angel to keep retreating, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. Damn it. As a powerful sacred angel, when had he ever been threatened by others? But now, the other party gave him a fatal sense of danger. He didn't dare to be careless. Shura Sword technique, fourth sword. At this time, Lin Xian finally used the fourth sword technique. Between heaven and earth, a stream of light streaked across, followed by the sacred angel's scream. Half of his body was split open, and saint blood dripped from the sky. Oh. The remaining dozens of hunters were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. Even their leader was seriously injured? This was a huge blow to them. Yunyue, who was behind, looked at this scene and was also shocked. It was so terrifying. She had previously experienced Lin Xian's strength after his breakthrough. But at that time it was only one move. He suppressed her with one move. Now that Lin Xian had used this kind of strength consecutively, she was shocked. One had to know that Lin Xian hadn't used the power of an extreme weapon yet. He was already able to sweep through everything. Even if the entire Destiny Adjudicator joined forces, they wouldn't be his match. At this point, the sacred angel wouldn't die so easily. But in the next moment, her face changed. Her body, which had just healed, cracked in half. The crack couldn't heal at all. What's going on? The sacred angel was really panicking this time. His opponent's sword energy seemed to contain an indestructible power. Damn it, how did he have so many super trump cards? Lin Xian sneered. Not only did he use the Azura Sword technique, but he also used the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul. It was impossible for the sacred angel to completely heal her body. Damn it, run. Every single one of us can escape. The holy angel knew that they were finished this time, but as long as one of them could escape, if one person could escape, they would be able to send the news to the Patriarch. There were more than 20 hunters left. When they heard this, they ran like crazy. The blood in their bodies burned. They wanted to escape at all costs. Stupid things, do you think you can escape? Lin Xian snorted coldly. He attacked the sacred angel. The hunters were overjoyed. No one cared about them. They increased their speed. The holy angel roared and holy light began to burn from his body. He wanted to give the others more time. Boom. His wish was good, but the moment they exchanged blows, he was beaten until he vomited blood. The demonic god seal descended from the sky like a primordial demon mountain, turning half of his body into a bloody mist. Then the demonic god pointed at his head, splitting it open. He roared crazily. But at this moment, a pair of godlike eyes appeared in the sky, severely injuring his soul. How could this be? He was completely suppressed. The other party was completely beating him. It was over. At this moment, another angry roar sounded. The Hellfire Dragon Sword carried an indestructible power. It turned into sword energy that filled the sky. There were millions of sword energy, like a sea of swords, enveloping the sacred angel. The sacred angel was cut into a bloody mist, unable to revive. Was he dead? Yunhua looked at the scene in disbelief. That was the sacred angel, the leader of Destiny Adjudication. Now he was gone. Leader. The 20 hunters who escaped also felt this scene. They roared crazily, their eyes red. But no one dared to go back. They could only speed up and escape. Chapter 51-45. The rest of the hunters fled in different directions. Coupled with the burning of their bloodline, their speed was extremely fast. Even if everyone attacked together, they wouldn't be able to catch up to them. When Yunyu saw this scene, she exclaimed, "Not good, young master. It's over. Let's leave quickly. Otherwise the family will send even more terrifying experts over. Maybe at that time the peak great sage would appear." She was really too worried. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. In the next moment his lips curled up. Don't worry. None of them could escape. He formed a seal with his palms and the demon god wings appeared on his back. The black wings flapped and instantly disappeared. The demon god wings allowed one to travel extremely fast in a straight line. Very quickly he caught up to one of the hunters. That hunter sensed the sound of air being torn apart behind him and turned his head in confusion. When he saw Lin Xian, he was scared out of his wits. Impossible. He roared crazily. How did you catch up? However, what answered him was only a palm. Demon god seal. He was beaten to the point where his soul was completely destroyed. The first one. Lin Xian grabbed the other party's storage ring and chased after him. The second one, the third one. Gradually, those hunters who escaped fell one after another. When the last hunter saw Lin Xian, he was really in despair. No. He was slapped into a blood mist. Even when he died, he didn't believe that Lin Xian could catch up to all of them. This kind of speed was beyond their understanding. When Lin Xian returned with 20 storage rings, Yunyu was also stunned. 20 top experts burned their bloodlines and fled in different directions. But no one was able to escape. The speed was shocking. He looked at Lin Xian. At this moment he treated him as a god. Let's go. Lin Xian waved his hand and led everyone away. The Destiny Twins race. The Destiny clan leader was anxiously waiting. This time if they brought him back, the extreme weapon would be theirs. He even suspected that Lin Xian had the Emperor's ancient scripture. As long as they could learn it, their Destiny Twins race would become even more terrifying. At that time they might even be able to compete with the Emperor clans. At this moment the news spread. Clan leader, this is bad. The elders all started crying. When they arrived, they knelt on the ground. What's going on? The fake clan leader's heart skipped a beat. What was going on? He stood up and spoke. Those elders, however, knelt on the ground and roared crazily. Dead, they were all dead. Everyone from Fate Adjudication had died, and their soul jade tablets had all shattered. What? The Destiny clan leader went crazy upon hearing this. What did you say? All dead? How was this possible? He roared madly. He couldn't believe it. That was the judgment of fate. 80 top-tier experts and a holy angel had actually fallen. Damn it, who is it? Was it that kid who did it? Impossible? Could it be that the Phoenix clan had secretly helped him? Most likely he was the only one capable of destroying Fate Adjudicator. However, when another group of people returned, they brought back news that made the Fate clan leader despair. Previously, they had sent people to keep an eye on the Phoenix clan to see if there were any experts. If they did, they would quickly pass on the message. They would also send experts to intercept them. However, these people said that the Phoenix clan didn't send out any experts. This made the Fate clan leader dumbfounded. If it wasn't the old Phoenix who did it, then who? Damn it, could it be that there was a terrifying existence behind Lin Wuti? He couldn't imagine. This time, the Fate clan leader sent out a supreme elder. This was a great sage at the pinnacle. His strength was extremely terrifying. His appearance directly alarmed the entire Yuhan continent. There were no great emperors at the moment. A great sage at the pinnacle was the strongest existence. He could sweep through the 9 heavens. Now that such a person had appeared, countless people were terrified. What was the reason? Why did the great sage of the Fate clan appear? Heavens, are they going to kill Lin Wuti? Countless people were shocked. The members of the Thunder clan and the Tianpeng clan also received the news. Their brows furrowed tightly. This shouldn't be. A great sage at the pinnacle was too terrifying. It would definitely cause a commotion. Even if the Fate clan wanted to kill him, they should have sent Fate Adjudicator. Could it be that there was an accident with Fate Adjudicator? They all began to investigate. When they learned that Fate and Fate Adjudicator had all fallen, everyone was stunned. They had seen that power before. Could sweep through everything. Even a great sage would die without a doubt. But now it had fallen. Who was it? Was it Lin Wuti? Coupled with the great sage's impulse, they guessed that it was most likely Lin Wuti who destroyed Fate Adjudicator. No way, could it be that this Lin Wuti already had the strength of a great sage? I think he was even stronger. How could this be? Even if he had the talent of a great emperor, it was impossible for him to be so terrifying. It seemed that there was an expert behind him who had made a move. Voices of discussion sounded one after another. When the Phoenix clan received the news, they were also shocked. The Phoenix clan leader, Feng Jiao, and the others narrowed their eyes. It seemed that even if this Lin Wuti was abandoned by an immortal, he still had some tricks up his sleeve. However, they didn't pay too much attention to it. Phoenix Mountain. The old Phoenix stood there and looked into the distance. As expected, he had broken through. The young Supreme had broken through to become the great sage. Was his strength so terrifying? It seemed that there would be a storm in St. Origin Ancient City. The great sage of the Fate clan swept in all directions, but they couldn't find any trace of Lin Xian at all. This made them go crazy with anger. This punch really hit the air. It didn't cause any threat to the other party. At this moment, Saint Origin Ancient City still didn't know about this news. In their opinion, Lin Xian had already fallen in the heavenly punishment. At this moment, at the edge of the Yuhan continent, there was a huge ship flying quickly. Countless figures stood on the dragon ship, including Lin Xian and the others. When they came, Lin Xian and the others left using the super teleportation array. However, when they left, Lin Xian didn't use the Phoenix Clan's teleportation array to deal with Fate Adjudicator. So when they returned, they would leave by dragon ship. The sea between the Yuhan continent and Yuanguang continent was a part of Long Hai. It was very difficult to fly over. Only by taking Long Hai's ship could it be fast. On the way, the dark red dragon and the toad were also on tenterhooks. Long Hai was Long Ao's clan and stood on the side of the Thousand Dragons court. If they were discovered, the powerhouses of Long Hai's dragons would probably rush over in an instant. Lin Xian was very calm. He wasn't afraid of anything. Moreover, the Lord of Long Hai definitely didn't expect him to sit on Long Hai's ship. Long Hai's ship was very big. It was like a dragon soaring above the sea. Its speed was even faster than a sage. This was specially made by Long Hai. Of course, the boarding fee was also very high. It was enough to make a sage's heart ache. Chapter 51-46. On the dragon boat, Lin Xian and the others were very relaxed. They enjoyed the sea breeze and sun when they had nothing to do. Their days were very leisurely. Yunyu also felt like a lifetime had passed. A few days ago they were still being chased by fate. Now they had to live like gods. It was like a dream. Yunyu, it's you. At this moment, a cry of surprise sounded. Yunyu turned her head and looked over. Then she was stunned. A woman walked over from the front. She was extremely beautiful and had an elegant aura. There were many young warriors beside her with fawning looks on their faces. Yu Shenzi, it's you. Yunyu was also surprised. Why are you here? Both of them asked the same question and then they both laughed. You know her? Toad jumped over, startling the beautiful woman in front of him. Yunyu said, let me introduce you. This is the princess of the Moon Shadow clan, Yu Shenzi. She's my good friend. These are also my friends. Yunyu pointed at Toad, Lin Xian and the others. As for the specifics, she didn't dare to explain. After all, if these people found out about Lin Xian's identity, it would probably cause an earth-shattering storm. Yu Shenzi looked ahead. When she saw Lin Xian, she was also stunned. This was because she had rarely seen such a calm and composed young man. But soon she shifted her gaze to Murong Qingqing, who was standing to the side. She was stunned. As the princess of the Moon Shadow clan, she thought that her appearance was unparalleled and her temperament was outstanding. However, compared to the purple-robed woman in front of her, she seemed a little dull. Who is she? She was very confused. The eyes of the young geniuses beside Yu Shenzi also lit up as they stared at Murong Qingqing. She's so beautiful. Could it be that a fairy has descended? Their faces were filled with shock. However, Yunyu said, why are you here? Yu Shenzi said, don't mention it. There are some things about the clan that annoy me. This time, I have to go to the Yaoguang continent to buy some resources for the clan. Oh right, Yunyu, you're from the Yuhan continent, right? Do you know what happened before? What happened? Yunyu was nervous. Naturally, it was about that Lin Wudi. Rumor had it that he was too powerful. He had swept through the 8 wastelands and defeated countless experts. Even Bailey Wuck had been defeated by him. After Yunyu heard this, her expression became strange. Logically speaking, Bailey Wuck shouldn't have mentioned this matter, because Bailey Wuck wasn't the only one who was defeated. Even the young lord of the Fate clan was slain. Could it be that the other party did not know? She asked tentatively. Yu Shenzi said, what a pity, I've only heard about that battle. After that, I went to carry out my family's mission. I don't know what's going to happen next. Did Flawless 100 Miles retaliate? That's right, the Heavenly Ping race won't let this matter go, right? It turned out that the other party didn't know what was going to happen next. No wonder. Yunyu heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, a group of people walked over from afar. One of them walked over and said, Fairy Yu, our young master has feelings for you. The physiques of these people were very strong. Just by standing there, they seemed to be able to suppress everything. It's you? Yu Shenzi frowned. She said, I don't have time. Go back and tell your young master to stop bothering me. The people in front didn't leave. Instead, their expressions darkened. Our young master has said that we must bring Fairy Yu over. Please don't make things difficult for us, Fairy Yu. What if I refuse? Yushinzi snorted coldly. Those experts were emitting a terrifying aura. Don't blame us for making a move. Even if we want to suppress you today, we'll make sure you bring her over. How dare you? Yushinzi shouted angrily. The people of the Moonshadow clan were also furious. In fact, the young geniuses in the surroundings even snorted coldly. If you want to take Yushinzi away, you'll have to ask for our permission first. You're courting death. One of the experts waved his hand. It was as if an ancient mountain had swept out in all directions. Several young geniuses were sent flying. Their bones were shattered and they were bleeding profusely. The other people were also in an uproar. Someone dared to make a move on the Dragon Sea ship? Did they want to die? Damn it, how dare you make a move? The injured young geniuses roared crazily. They originally wanted to show off their strength in front of Yushinzi. They didn't expect to end up in such a sorry state. So what if they made a move? Another expert walked out and threw out a punch. Several young geniuses were sent flying while vomiting blood. A man from the Moonshadow clan frowned. You've already broken the ship's rules. Let's see what you're going to do about it. Who dares to cause trouble on our ship? Sure enough, the ship's guards walked over and shouted coldly. However, when they saw the tall men, they smiled. So it's our fellow Taoists from the Tyrants. These people don't know what's good for them, so we'll teach them a lesson. We're here to invite Feiru. Understood. The guards nodded and smiled. Then they looked at the young geniuses. Behave, or we'll throw you into the Dragon Sea to feed the fish. What? The young geniuses roared crazily. They were indignant. The other party was the one who broke the rules. You're really stupid. A man walked over with his hands behind his back. His eyes were shining with a sharp light. He said loudly, because we're from the Tyrants and because our young master is good friends with the geniuses of the Dragon Sea. Do you understand now that I've explained it this way? Offending us is the same as offending the Dragon Sea clan. The young geniuses were so scared that they didn't dare to speak. This ship belonged to the Dragon Sea clan. The others were also shocked. It seemed like they had kicked an iron plate. The tyrants snorted. Since you know who we are, get lost. With an angry shout, the group of young geniuses around Feiru Ying retreated. No one dared to offend them. Feiru, come with us. The tall man snorted. The young geniuses from the tyrants, Overlord Tianlang, narrowed his eyes. These people should be Feiru's friends. Why don't we go together? He stared at Yunyue and his eyes lit up. When he saw Murong Qingqing, he was so excited that he trembled. His luck was really good this time. There were so many peerless beauties here. Please. The tyrants came to Feiru and Yunyue's side. Some of them even walked towards Murong Qingqing. Yunyue was also angry, but she didn't dare to cause trouble now. She could only look at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face also darkened. To be honest, he didn't intend to care about the previous incident. However, these people actually had their eyes on Murong Qingqing. That made him unhappy. He swirled the spirit wine in his hand and said calmly, I'll give you 3 seconds. Get lost. Disappear from my sight or bear the consequences. As soon as he said that, everyone on the deck was stunned. For a moment, the air became silent. No one dared to believe it. Chapter 51-47. The people from the tyrants frowned. Who was so reckless? They snorted coldly and the void around them began to shatter. In the next moment they stared at a figure. It was a young figure. Kid, were you the one who said that? The others also looked at Lin Xian and began to discuss. Who is this kid? He seems to have a powerful background. His aura doesn't seem to be anything special. He isn't even the great sage. How dare he challenge the tyrants? What a fool. He probably doesn't know how to spell the word death. Yushinzi's expression changed when she heard this. Although she was very dissatisfied with the tyrants, she didn't dare to challenge them. Would this young man be able to withstand it? She asked softly. Yunyu, who is he? Yunyu smiled bitterly. She thought that she had to keep a low profile and not cause trouble. Who would have thought that Lin Xian didn't care about this at all? She looked at Yushinzi and said. He was a godlike figure. Yushinzi was stunned. Godlike figure? Was he that powerful? What about Bailey Wuck? Yunyu wanted to say something, but Overlord Sky Wolf walked over. He said coldly, Kid, kneel down and accept your death. I'll leave you with an intact corpse. Otherwise, I'll let you know what it means to be dismembered. He was really angry. Who was this kid? How dare he challenge their family? Who are you? How dare you ask us to kneel? Can you bear it? The dark red dragon snorted. The toad sneered. You're the ones who don't know what's good for you. If you obediently kneel down in front of me now, I can spare your dog life. Countless people were in an uproar. This group of people was too reckless. A snake and a toad dared to challenge the tyrants? You're courting death. A tall man from the tyrants slapped out his palm and grabbed the toad. Countless people exclaimed. This toad would probably be turned into a bloody mist in an instant. The void shattered and a terrifying aura pierced through all directions. The toad was also angry. Damn, you're underestimating me, aren't you? Go to hell. He shot out poison that filled the sky and quickly retreated at the same time. His attack missed and landed in the air. However, the poison was able to fly over. The tall man retracted his hand, his face cold. One of his hands had already turned black and was trembling non-stop. It was too poisonous. No way he actually dodged it. He could even hurt the tyrants. This toad was not ordinary. Judging from its ugly appearance, could it be a strange beast of heaven and earth? Countless cries of surprise rang out. The toad turned its head and roared with its teeth clenched. Who dares to call me ugly? She had never seen such a handsome toad. Damn it, who was it that said that? Come out, I'll make that person's face bloom. The surrounding people felt their scalps go numb. They now knew that the toad's poison was very powerful. Could even hurt the tyrants. However, the tyrants were completely enraged. You actually dared to injure me? Looks like you really don't know what's good for you. The injured man punched again. This time it was the other hand. It turned into a terrifying ray of light and shot towards the toad. The toad was furious and quickly dodged. The dark red dragon struck out with its claw and collided with the opponent's fist. An earth-shattering sound rang out. The dark red dragon retreated and its arm went numb. Damn, he was so strong. The tyrants were not ordinary. The others were even more shocked. This snake was not ordinary either. It could actually compete with the tyrants in terms of physique. Who exactly are you people? The tyrants gritted their teeth and asked. Two strange beasts of heaven and earth? The dark red dragon turned its head and said, Kid, these tyrants are quite strong. Do you want to compete with them in terms of physique? Lin Xian shook his head and said, I'm not interested. They're too weak. They can't even block one of my fingers. The surrounding people were stunned. What did they just hear? Someone said that the tyrants were weak? Oh my god, are you kidding me? The tyrants were the legendary existence of the tyrant body. They were famous for their close combat physique and their immense strength. Now, someone actually dared to look down on the physique of the tyrants? He must be out of his mind. They looked carefully and were speechless when they realized that it was Lin Xian again. Why was it this kid again? The tyrants were also angry and stared at Lin Xian. How dare you speak so arrogantly? I think you're really courting death. At this moment, some of the geniuses at the side had already started to persuade her. Yuxianzi, I think you should agree with the tyrants. That's right, Yuxianzi. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. Not to mention this kid. You'll be implicated to death by him. Voices of discussion rang out one after another. Yuxianzi also frowned. She really did not know where Lin Xian got the strength to say such words. She looked at Yunyu. However, Yunyu smiled bitterly and shook her head. To be honest, she was really not worried. She had already seen Lin Xian's strength. It would be difficult for these people to hurt Lin Xian. Yuxianzi sighed and said, Yunyu, why don't we go and take a look? The tyrants are sincerely inviting us. Also, tell your friends not to fight with the tyrants. It was obvious that Yuxianzi was starting to feel afraid. However, Yunyu shook her head. I know Sir's strength. This time the tyrants must apologize. Otherwise this matter will not end here. Yuxianzi was stunned. What kind of joke was this? She said, This is not your fake clan's territory. This is the Dragon Sea. If you offend them, you will be buried in the sea. However, Yunyu shook her head. I can't make the decision for Sir. Yuxianzi was stunned. No matter how she looked at it, Yunyu seemed to be the other party's follower. But how was this possible? She knew Yunyu's strength. She was the pride of the fake clan and had a terrifying status. However, she was so afraid of this young man. Could it be that this young man had a powerful background? Overlord Sky Wolf snorted coldly. No matter who you are, we have the final say here. Someone come and take them away. Someone walked towards Murong Qingqing. Lin Xian's face darkened and he threw the wine cup in his hand. The wine in the cup turned into a murderous arrow and pierced through the sky. One of the tyrants screamed and flew back. His body was pierced by the sword aura. He was injured. Countless people were shocked and could not believe that the person who was injured was from the tyrants. Was this young man really so powerful? Could he be a top-notch swordsman? Countless people exclaimed. The members of the tyrants were enraged. This time, two of them walked over and reached out to grab Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian shook his head and sighed. I've said it before. You can't even withstand one finger of mine. He flicked his finger and pointed in front of him. Demon God's finger. With this point, heaven and earth shattered and the bodies of the two tyrants were torn apart. Then they turned into a bloody mist and scattered between heaven and earth. Chapter 51-48. It was a one-hit kill. The people around them were dumbfounded. That two powerful cultivators from the tyrants had fallen, and they were killed with one finger. They felt like they were dreaming. Oh God, who was this young man? He actually did it? Previously, Lin Xian said that the tyrants could not defeat him with one finger. Everyone thought that Lin Xian was bragging. But now it really happened. They knew that the other party really had such strength. Who are you? Overlord Sky Wolf roared. The tyrants were also shocked. Lin Xian stood up. He took a step forward and stood in front of a tyrant. Then he slapped him. You're courting death. The tyrant roared. Sky Tyrant Divine Fist. His fist danced and could shatter the galaxy, but he could not defeat Lin Xian's palm. Under this palm, his body shattered and turned into a bloody mist. He no longer existed. Another one died. Countless people were horrified. This guy could kill a tyrant with one move. It was too unbelievable. Yushinzi was also stunned. How was this possible? Previously, she had persuaded the other party to lower his head and admit his mistake. But now she realized that it was her. She was so wrong. Now she finally understood. No wonder Yunhua was so respectful. The young man in front of her was definitely not an ordinary person. It was very likely that he was a young powerhouse. Kid, tell me where you're from. Otherwise, if you dare to kill me tyrants, you're dead meat. Overlord Sky Wolf roared crazily. He really wanted to know who the other party was. How dare you scold me? Slap him. After saying that, Lin Xian slapped him. With a smack, Overlord Sky Wolf was sent flying. Half of his face was smashed. He spun in the air and fell on the deck. Countless arrays flashed. If it weren't for the fact that this dragon boat was meticulously built, it would have sunk long ago. But even so, it shocked countless people. The other party dared to hit Overlord Sky Wolf? Overlord Sky Wolf was also stunned. In the next moment, he screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Damn it, how dare you hit me? I'll kill you. I'll make you wish you were dead. He was different from the ordinary warriors of the tyrants. He was a genius of a large clan, and his status was extraordinary. He had always been the one hitting others. No one had dared to lay a finger on her. But now the other party had actually slapped him in the face, his handsome face. Furthermore, it was done in public. How was he supposed to conduct himself in the future? He wanted to grab the other party and break the bones in his body one by one. Then he would cut him up piece by piece to relieve the hatred in his heart. Give it to me. Overlord Sky Wolf covered his face and roared. There were 4 other tyrants around him. Hearing these words, they also rushed over. The 4 of them attacked together, and their powerful strength was enough to shatter everything. On the surface of the dragon boat, formations flickered, defending against everything. However, the surrounding dragon sea was swept up by a monstrous storm, as if it was going to engulf everything. Lin Xian did not dodge the attacks of these 4 people. Instead, he waved his hand. Like an iron chain crossing the river, a crescent moon was drawn, and the 4 palms were all smashed into pieces. He screamed as he was sent flying. Then Lin Xian waved his sleeves and threw the 4 of them into the dragon sea. *CK, this guy is too crazy. He had completely offended the tyrants. Seeing that another 4 martial artists had disappeared, countless people exclaimed. Overlord Sky Wolf was also scared out of his wits. He wanted to escape, but in the next moment he was slapped to the ground. The other half of his face was also smashed. The dark red dragon jumped over and stepped on him. He sneered. What? Weren't you very arrogant before? You're arrogant now. Damn it, I'll trample you to death. The 2 of them stepped on his face crazily and cursed at him. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. Was this really Overlord Sky Wolf? The young master of the tyrants, a powerful genius? Why did he feel so miserable? Damn it, save me. They looked at the dragon's guards. The dragon's guards snorted. Enough, stop. With a roar, the world shook. A terrifying aura of the Tao of dragons appeared, and even the surrounding formations flickered non-stop. The toad and the dark red dragon stopped, looked ahead and sneered. Who do you think you are? Stop when you say so? If I don't stop, what can you do? The 2 of them continued to slap faces crazily. The Dragon Palace guards were dumbfounded. The other party didn't even dare to listen to their orders? How preposterous. After all, this was their territory. They were courting death. Men suppressed them. They shouted angrily. The two Dragon Palace guards next to them formed seals with their palms, and the surrounding formations immediately formed chains. They shrouded the toad and the dark red dragon. Damn it, they still dare to attack? The two of them retreated. Lin Xian grabbed the chains and tore them apart. Then he slapped the two guards of the Dragon Palace. Before the two Dragon Palace guards could react, they were slapped to the ground and screamed in pain. Half of their bodies were also smashed. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. Where did this ruthless person come from? He even dared to hit the Dragon Palace guards? Yu Xinzi's mind was blank and she was as stunned as a statue. The leader of the guards shouted angrily, "You're courting death. Do you believe that I'll throw you into the sea to feed the fish?" As he spoke, he took out a small flag and kept waving it. The 6 formations around him flickered as if they were going to swallow Lin Xian. Lin Xian's figure flickered as he used Shadowless Heaven's net and instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in front of the leader of the guards. He grabbed the leader with one hand. "How dare you?" The leader of the guards frantically tried to resist. However, in an instant his neck was gripped and he was nailed in the air. He felt that he couldn't use the strength in his body. The other party's strength was too terrifying. Why couldn't he resist at all? "How dare you touch me? Try it." He gritted his teeth with difficulty. He still didn't believe that the other party would dare to attack him in his territory. Lin Xian sneered. "I'll grant you your wish." He waved his hand and broke one of the leader's arms. The leader screamed in pain as the arm was completely deformed. The leader of the guards let out a miserable cry. He gritted his teeth and was about to shout angrily. However, his other arm was also broken. Cold sweat flowed down his face. This was a misunderstanding. "Let me go and I won't pursue the matter. How about it?" Faced with this situation, she had no choice but to beg for mercy. The surrounding people were also shocked. Heavens, is the people of the Dragon Palace also begging for mercy? She's the master of the dragon boat. Is someone trying to turn the tables? The other guards of the Dragon Palace also rushed over, gritting their teeth and roaring. "Damned kid, let go of our leader. Otherwise you're dead meat." Lin Xian snorted coldly. There was a golden light flickering in his eyes. "You're pretending to beg for mercy so that I'll let you go, and then you'll mobilize more formations and powerhouses to suppress me, right?" "No, how could that be?" The leader of the guard's face turned pale. "Have I been discovered?" However, he would never admit it even if he died. The golden light in Lin Xian's eyes bloomed again. "I'll ask you one last time, right?" Chapter 51-49. Yes. This time, Longhai's guard nodded and admitted it. His eyes shone with a golden light. The next moment he half knelt in the void. "I was blind and should not have offended you. Please punish me." The surrounding people were stunned. Even the guard leader had knelt down? Did this mean that Dragon Palace had bowed down? Damn it, what was going on? "Quickly report this to young master." The surrounding guards went crazy when they saw this scene and quickly reported it. At this moment, in the main hall of the dragon boat, it was very lively. All kinds of palace maids were dancing and there was good wine and food in the surroundings. There were a few figures sitting in front of them. They were all young men with extraordinary auras. Some of them had powerful strength as if they were peerless gods of war. Some of them had the aura of dragons. At this moment they were drinking and chatting. However, at this moment the door of the palace was opened. A few figures hurried in and knelt on the ground. "Young master, this is bad. Something big has happened." The surrounding palace maids all stopped. There were 2 men sitting in front of them. One of them frowned. "I told you not to disturb me no matter what. Don't you understand?" Terrifying dragon shadows appeared around them as if they were going to tear the sky apart. That guard was trembling in fear. "Something has happened. Someone has attacked us on the dragon boat and injured our guards. They even suppressed the guard leader." As soon as this was said, there was an uproar in the main hall. The man from Dragon Palace frowned. "Who was it? Who was so reckless?" "Brother Qianxue, please wait for a moment. I'll deal with it." Long Qianshan stood up with a cold expression. Who dared to behave atrociously in the Dragon Sea clan? He would never let that person go. However, at this moment the guard said again. He asked young Master Qianxue to go as well because that person had already killed many warriors of the tyrants. What? This time the other man was also angry. He stood up with a bang. The surrounding void kept shattering and turning into many black holes. Did he hear wrongly? Someone from the tyrants had died. And there were a few of them. "Let's go." He took a step forward and tore the void apart. On the other side, Long Qianshan also followed. They all wanted to see who was so bold. On the deck outside, countless people were watching. Suddenly, the void split open and a few figures descended. They suppressed all directions. Someone cried out in alarm. Oh heavens, it's actually Ba Tianxue and Long Qianshan. These two were top-notch geniuses. This kid was dead meat. They all looked at Lin Xian. Young master, save me. The guard leader of Dragon Palace exclaimed when he saw Long Qianshan. He wanted to ask for help. However, the toad slapped him and shut him up, causing his teeth to fly all over the place. Long Qianshan's face turned cold when he saw this. A damn toad dared to be so arrogant in front of their dragons? Men, take him down. Long Qianshan waved his hand and a middle-aged man with the appearance of dragons walked out from behind him. His strength was extremely terrifying. He suddenly attacked. Like lightning, he punched towards the toad's head. The toad retreated in fright while Lin Xian made his move. He struck out with his palm and collided with his opponent's fist. A heaven-shaking sound rang out as that man was sent flying, one of his arms broken. He was stunned. Who are you? He stared at Lin Xian. Are you the one who led this? Long Qianshan's eyes flickered. On the other side, Ba Tianxue's expression was also cold. Who are you? Tell me where you came from. Lin Xian looked at the two of them and sneered. You two don't have the right to know. You're courting death. Long Qianshan was completely enraged. He snorted coldly and struck out with his palm. His dragon claw brought along terrifying thunder and exploded with dazzling light. It formed a field of lightning that enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian stood in the field of thunder without fear. The lightning that struck his body could not break through his defense. How is this possible? Long Qianshan could not believe that his attack could not break through Lin Xian's defense. Who is this person? The others were also shocked. Ba Tianxue's expression was solemn. At this moment he cupped his fists and said in a deep voice, Young master, may I know who you are? We want to know who you are before we die. My name is Lin Xian. A faint voice sounded. The surrounding people were puzzled. They had never heard of this name. However, Ba Tianxue's pupils shrank. What? It's you? You are. He did not dare to say anything else. His eyes were wide open. He finally knew that he had kicked an iron plate. Others might not know who Lin Xian was, but he knew. Someone from the tyrants was cultivating in Saint Source ancient city. Moreover, he was a genius from the Earth sect. He had heard of Lin Xian's legend. However, he did not expect that Lin Xian would appear here. Moreover, he appeared in Longhai. He had heard that Lin Xian and Longhai were rivals. So it's young master. We were blind and offended, young master. Those who died deserved it. The tyrants will not seek revenge from young master. The surrounding people were stunned. Heavens, who is this young man? How could he make Ba Tianxue so fearful? Long Qianshan was also stunned. Who is brother Tianxue? He knew that Ba Tianxue's strength was on par with his. However, Ba Tianxue was so fearful. Could he be a crown prince? Ba Tianxue shook his head. What could he say? If he revealed Lin Xian's identity, Lin Xian would probably kill him on the spot. Therefore he could only say, I'll leave now. As he spoke, he soared into the sky, wanting to leave the dragon boat. However, Lin Xian said indifferently, Stop. You can just stay at the side. Ba Tianxue's body had already reached the 9 heavens. When he heard this, he immediately descended. He stood on the other side of the deck and did not dare to move. The surrounding spectators were also shocked. Which one of them who could board the dragon boat was weak? However, when they saw Ba Tianxue's actions, they felt their scalps go numb. Just what kind of person could make Ba Tianxue submit so wholeheartedly? The young geniuses were even more shocked. Ba Tianxue's strength was far above theirs. They had to be respectful when they saw him. The only people who could make Ba Tianxue afraid were those few princes. However, was the person in front of them a crown prince? Why had they not heard of him? The people from Longhai were also stunned. Their faces became unsightly. This was their territory. Ba Tianxue could be fearful, but they could not. If they were afraid of others in their own territory, they would not be able to raise their heads in the future. Long Qianshan snorted coldly. Whoever dares to make a move on the dragon boat, you're dead meat. Kneel down and accept your death. Otherwise, I'll destroy your soul. You. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with disdain. He stretched out a finger and pointed it forward. Damn it, how dare you look down on me? Do you think you can kill me with a finger? Long Qianshan roared and a terrifying light burst out. He punched out with his dragon fist, suppressing heaven and earth. The two collided as if the sky was falling and the earth was splitting. How is this possible? Long Qianshan retreated and vomited blood. He was injured in the collision. The other party's finger was more terrifying than his unique skill. Chapter 5150. What's wrong? Are you surprised and unable to accept it? Lin Xian sneered. He took a step forward and pointed at Long Qianshan again. The black finger carried a terrifying demonic aura that could pierce through heaven and earth. Long Qianshan tried his best to block it, but he was still sent flying. Another bloody hole appeared on his body. Lin Xian sneered. Who do you think you are? A supreme genius? A peerless expert who can sweep through everything? How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? You don't even know who I am. Do you have the right to be arrogant? Lin Xian kicked Long Qianshan like a coiling dragon and sent him flying again. Long Qianshan's bones were shattered. He fell to the ground and vomited blood. He's too powerful. The surrounding people were stunned. That was Long Qianshan, the owner of this ship. But now he was being beaten up. Who is this young man? He defeated Ba Tianxue with just one sentence. He injured Long Qianshan with just one finger. Perhaps even a young great emperor was no match for him. Damn brat, I want you dead. Long Qianshan roared. Dragon blood surged in his body. Endless laws surrounded him and his broken body reformed. Then a pagoda flew out from his forehead. It was a dragon pagoda. There were dragon patterns on it. It was abnormally terrifying. The moment it appeared, it let out a series of dragon roars. The dragon shadows on the pagoda emitted an unparalleled power. The dragon pagoda pressed down on Lin Xian. It was a terrifying sacred artifact. Countless people exclaimed when it appeared. The people of Longhai sneered again. This time they would definitely be able to suppress Long Qianshan. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He circulated his strength. His powerful physique shook the world. Then he struck out with his palm. A huge seal appeared on his palm. It was the demon god seal. With a clang, the attack landed on the surface of the dragon pagoda, causing it to shake violently. A part of the pagoda caved in. The surrounding people's eyes almost popped out. Especially the people of Longhai. They could not believe it. How powerful was this saint tool? How could it have been broken by someone? How terrifying is this guy's physique? Long Qianshan felt as if he was struck by lightning as he vomited blood. Lin Xian's figure flickered again, and he arrived in front of his opponent. His fingers were like swords as he drew out several sword qi. His opponent's body was cut into pieces. Can't even withstand a single blow? Is there no one in Longhai who can fight? Lin Xian's voice rang out. The other guards were stunned. Uncle, save me. Long Qianshan's soul roared. In the depths of the dragon boat, an angry roar sounded. Immediately after, the phantom of a black dragon appeared and enveloped the world. A terrifying aura swept across the 9 heavens. In the next moment, everyone discovered that a man in a black robe had appeared in the sky. Terrifying dragon wings flickered on his back. A vast aura descended, piercing through heaven and earth. Countless people felt their scalps go numb. A saint was a true unrivaled expert. The Black Dragon Lord was also the helmsman of the dragon boat. His appearance. Countless people were terrified. The Black Dragon Lord frowned as he looked down. Long Qianshan was seriously injured. To be honest, he did not dare to believe it. He stared at Lin Xian and shouted coldly. Who are you? In his opinion, Lin Xian was definitely not a nobody. Since he was so strong, he probably had a great background. A saint? Interesting. Let's see if you have the qualifications to know my identity. Lin Xian said indifferently. He was not afraid of a saint. The Black Dragon Lord stretched out his palm and attacked like a dragon. Instantly, the sky darkened, and the surrounding people quickly retreated. They had already reached the edge of the deck, and no one dared to take the attack head-on. Murong Qingqing and the others also retreated. Lin Xian shouted angrily. Good one. The people before were too useless. They could not make me use my full strength. I hope you don't disappoint me. Lin Xian punched out in all directions. Now that he had broken through to become a great sage, he wanted to use a saint to test his combat strength. The 6 paths fist pressed forward and collided with the barbaric dragon palm. A cracking sound rang out and the two of them retreated. Lin Xian felt his arm go numb. In the next moment, his strength surged and his arm recovered. Good. The power of a saint is not bad. He laughed and attacked. The Black Dragon Lord was completely stunned. Who is this person? Is this a young man? To be honest, he did not dare to believe it. He had never seen such a terrifying young man. Looking at the other party's aura, he should be a saint king. Even an emperor's son would not have such a terrifying physique. After all, there was a difference of several realms between a saint king and a saint. A saint was a late-stage great god. How could the other party surpass so many realms? He could not believe it. Damn it. This is definitely an old monster pretending to be weak. The Black Dragon Lord gritted his teeth. He felt that the other party only looked young. No matter which old monster you are, I will let you show your true form today. Black Dragon Storm. Thinking of this, he shouted angrily. The Black Dragon Law on his body exploded, turning into a black fog that enveloped the entire dragon ship. Illusions of black dragons appeared between heaven and earth, and they attacked. There were a total of 81 of them. Each of them was like an ancient divine beast that could sweep through the 9 heavens. It was too terrifying. Countless people were terrified. This was the power of a saint. No matter how strong the other young geniuses were, they would not be able to do it. Long Qianshan and the others gritted their teeth. This kid would definitely not be able to withstand it. He would definitely die. They wanted to see him die with their own eyes. Murong Qingqing and the others were also nervous. Although Lin Xian had broken through, this was still the first time he was facing a saint. Looking at the black dragon illusions that were rushing down, Lin Xian sneered. Lin Xian scoffed coldly and waved his hand, causing a sharp sword aura to appear. The moment the sword chi appeared, it released a sharp aura. At this moment, Lin Xian's body was surrounded by sword light. It was as if he had turned into a peerless sword god. With a slash of his sword, the void shattered. It carried a vast divine might. With a boom, the sword light slashed at a black dragon, splitting it in half. It let out an unwilling roar. Then it disappeared. Immediately after, Lin Xian's second slash was released. With another slash, heaven and earth were split apart. The second black dragon was split apart again. Its huge body collapsed like a mountain. The third slash. It was even more terrifying. It was like a peerless divine sword that swept through the 9 heavens. This time, 3 dragon shadows were shattered. Lin Xian became more and more courageous as he fought. The long sword in his hand was wide open, carrying a supreme power. He killed all 81 black dragons. Between heaven and earth, dragon blood dripped down. The dragons roared as if they were about to destroy the world. The people on the dragon ship looked up at the sky. When they saw this scene, they were shocked. Was he going to slay the dragons? Impossible. Long Qianshan and the others from Longhai were scared silly. This was not an ordinary divine ability. This was a super divine ability that a saint had unleashed. The other party was actually dealing with it calmly as if he was cutting vegetables. Chapter 51-51. The Black Dragon Sage was stunned. Although this wasn't his strongest ability, it shouldn't have been destroyed so easily. Even if it was an expert of the same cultivation level, it shouldn't have been like this. His opponent's sword chi was too sharp. It was something he had never seen before. He even thought that Lin Fan had taken out a legendary saint weapon. However, he realized that it was just sword light. Lin Fan had used his arm to shoot out sword light. Damn it, could it be? Lin Fan's arm had fused with a super saint weapon. Lin Xian pointed his sword at the clouds and said coldly, "As a saint, you only have this little trick up your sleeve? How disappointing. Kid, don't be so arrogant." The Black Dragon Sage was enraged. He shouted coldly as a terrifying vessel erupted from his body. Then he spread his wings. The black dragon wings covered the sky. There were frightening dragon scales on them that flickered. Each of them was like a black divine sword. At this moment there were tens of millions of them. As the wings flapped, the dragon scales fell. They pierced through the clouds and formed a sword array. They fell crazily. "No matter how strong your sword chi is, can it touch my dragon scales?" He sneered. "So many." Seeing this scene, countless people were shocked. They realized that they couldn't even block a single dragon scale, let alone tens of millions of them. No one could block it unless Lin Fan could completely dodge it. Or he had a super powerful defensive weapon. Otherwise he would definitely die. No one doubted the power of a saint. Murong Qingqing and the others' eyes flickered. They were nervous. Yu Xianzi's scalp went numb. She looked at Yunyue and the others and said, "Can he block it? If he dies, all of us will die." Yunyue looked up at the sky with admiration. She smiled and said, "Don't worry, young master is not afraid of anything." On the other side, Ba Tianshua's expression was grave. The previous battle had shocked him. Fortunately, he didn't provoke Lin Fan. Otherwise he would probably end up as miserable as Long Qianshan. Lin Fan was indeed Lin Wuti. At the same time he was shocked. Lin Wuti was so terrifying that he could fight against a saint. Could it be that Lin Fan had broken through? Thinking of this possibility, he sucked in a breath of cold air. Long Qianshan and the others gritted their teeth. This time the other party should be dead. Lin Xian had no intention of dodging as he looked at the countless black swords descending from the sky. Swordchi? He formed a seal with his palms and black and white auras appeared in his palms. Then, it turned into a Taiji diagram. The Taiji diagram spun continuously, releasing a terrifying yin and yang aura. Then, countless yin and yang sword chi flew out from it and soared into the sky. These yin and yang sword chis carried the power of yin and yang and an indestructible aura. Similarly, there were tens of millions of them. The sword chi from the two sides collided with each other, creating a deafening sound. It was as if 10,000 bolts of lightning had struck, shattering everything between heaven and earth. On the dragon boat, countless large cracks appeared, turning into black holes one after another, bobbing up and down. Heavens, he actually blocked it. Countless people were shocked. Long Qianshan was dumbfounded. How could this be? This was yin and yang qi. Could it be that he was from the Kunping race? Ba Tianxue was also shocked. This was different from the Lin Wudi he knew. Legend had it that Lin Wudi had the 9 yang divine body, and his fist could sweep through everything. At the same time he was also a peerless swordsman. However, he had never heard that Lin Xian knew the laws of yin and yang. Moreover, it seemed that the laws of yin and yang were not something that he had just cultivated. It was too terrifying. It was enough to block the peerless divine ability of a great sage. Could it be that Lin Wudi had not used his full strength before? Thinking of this possibility, Ba Tianxue was so scared that he almost fainted. At this moment, the experts of the dragons on the dragon boat all moved out. They looked ahead with shock on their faces. Someone was fighting here and it was against the black dragon sage. Damn it, who was that kid? They could not see clearly. The sword light that filled the sky seemed to be able to destroy everything. Even the soul could not be seen. Everyone could only wait for the black dragon sage to win to know the situation. The yin and yang sword chi collided with the black swords, blocking the divine ability of the great sage. This time the black dragon sage was completely stunned. There was yin and yang chi? Damn it. He roared angrily and the black wings on his back slashed down. This was his main body's physique. He wanted to use this pair of dragon wings to split his opponent in half. The two dragon wings were extremely sharp and emitted a cold light. They were like two peerless heavenly swords that descended from the sky. This time the yin and yang sword chi was split apart. Many of them turned into fragments of laws that danced in the air. He was angry. Everyone exclaimed. Long Qianshan was also happy. Ah, this is great. The physique of a great sage was extremely powerful. The black dragon wings were the hardest part of the black dragon sage's body. They were enough to break everything. As expected, the yin and yang sword chi could not block it. Was the victor going to be decided this time? Countless people were looking forward to it. Lin Xian looked at this scene and narrowed his eyes. He sneered and formed a hand seal again. The Tai Chi diagram separated. On one side it turned into a yang spirit. On the other side it turned into a yin spirit. It carried an extremely terrifying aura of death. The yin and yang spirits exploded together as if two gods had been resurrected. They were as tall as the 9 heavens. They roared and stretched out their flame-like hands to grab one of the black dragon wings. The yin spirit grabbed the other one. In the next instant, a heaven-shaking sound rang out. The yin and yang spirits grabbed the two black dragon wings. Brr. The black dragon sage was stunned. He did not expect his opponent's Tai Chi diagram to have such a shocking transformation. Fool, you want to compete with my physique? Can you do it? He activated his power and endless great Daos appeared around him. The black dragon wings exploded and danced continuously. However, he had underestimated the yin and yang spirits. The laws of yin and yang were already so terrifying. As for the yin and yang spirits, Lin Xian had comprehended the good and evil spirits. Thus, they formed a super powerful divine ability. That was why their power was so terrifying. In addition to the power of the dragon sword soul, they were invincible. Make your move. Lin Xian also took a step forward. Endless light bloomed from his body. The yin and yang spirits were supported by a powerful force. They roared at the sky. Both of them exerted their strength and waved their arms. With a crack, the sound of bones breaking could be heard. The two black dragon wings were broken. Ah! The black dragon sage let out a crazy roar. He was actually injured. The toughest part of his physique had been broken by the other party? That was impossible. Long Qianshan and the others were terrified. Many of the dragon's martial artists were already kneeling on the ground in fear. The other dragons were even more shocked. Which old monster had come? Ba Tianxue and the others were completely stunned. Lin Xian's combat power had exceeded their expectations. He was like a different person compared to when he was crowned. Despicable ant, you dare to hurt me? I won't let you go. I will make you fall into hell for all eternity. The Black Dragon Sage's cold voice rang out. He was really angry. You. Lin Xian sneered. Do you have the right to say that? He waved his arm and merged his power into the Yin and Yang spirits. The Yin and Yang spirits used their divine power and waved their arms again. At this moment, heaven and earth were torn into two. Chapter 51-52. Blood dyed the sky red. The huge black dragon wings were shattered. The bones on the wings made one's scalp go numb. Everyone on the dragon boat was stunned. This scene was like a myth. This was the power of a god. No, I don't believe it. Long Qinshan's body has recovered. Although Long Qinshan's body had recovered, he was so scared that he knelt on the ground and trembled. Did he challenge the other party just now? This was an existence that could injure a great sage. Great. The dark red divine dragon and the others were delighted. As expected of the power after breaking through. It was much stronger than before. Lin Xian did not use his legendary sacred weapon, nor did he use any extreme weapons. Even so, he still seriously injured a great sage. This was enough to show how powerful he was. More importantly, Lin Xian had just become a great sage. A great sage was a late-stage great sage. Both sides could fight to such an extent. If Lin Xian became a late-stage great sage, his strength would be unimaginable. It would probably be enough to sweep through everything. The black dragon wings are not bad. I'll roast them later. Lin Xian waved his hand and kept the two broken black dragon wings. The black dragon lord heard this and spat out a mouthful of blood. Ah, damn it, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to tear you into pieces. He was really crazy. He did not expect that he would suffer a loss in the other party's hands. And it was a serious injury. Although he could recover, the black dragon wings were his most powerful weapon. However, there were two bloody holes on his back that kept splitting open. The pain drove him crazy. He gathered his loss to heal his wounds. His face was cold. No matter who you are, you have angered me. Now accept my punishment. He took out a black sledgehammer from his storage ring. Thunder surrounded it. The black dragon hammer was a terrifying sacred weapon. It could shatter the sky with a light wave. Are you sure about this weapon? Lin Xian took out the Hellfire Dragon Sword. It bloomed with terrifying black flames that swept through the 9 heavens. Then he attacked. In the next moment, the two fought again. It was like two gods fighting. Every time the weapons clashed, a godlike radiance would erupt. After 100 moves, the black dragon sage let out a miserable shriek as one of his arms was chopped off. It's useless. You're no match for me. Lin Xian shook his head. You're too weak. Is there anyone else who can fight? He looked around. Damn it, you dare to look down on me? The black dragon sage was furious. He was a dignified saint, an overlord of a region. Who would dare to underestimate him? But now the other party was actually so arrogant. The other members of the dragons were also shocked. At this moment, a woman flew over. Sage, something's not right. There's something wrong with this kid. Of course I knew there was something wrong with him. The black dragon sage roared in anger. How could an ordinary person injure him so severely? However, the woman shook her head. Look at the sword he's using. Doesn't it look like Lin Wudi's sword? Hearing this, the black dragon saint was stunned. The others were also stunned and looked up at the sky. Lin Wudi? What a familiar name. Someone cried out in alarm. Wasn't that the exceptional genius who was crowned a king? Yes, that's right. It's him. Could it be that he's here? He's Lin Wudi? Countless exclamations rang out as they looked at Lin Xian. But soon someone shook his head. Impossible. No matter how strong Lin Wudi was, he was just a saint king. Could he fight against a saint? Even if he could, he would have to use his trump card. He couldn't do it with his own strength. The others were all confused. However, the black dragon sage's pupils contracted. You're Lin Wudi? He didn't dare to believe it. He dared to appear here? Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back. He smiled. Only now did you guys realize my identity. You guys are really stupid. That's right. I'm Lin Wudi. As soon as these words came out, everyone went crazy. He's really Lin Wudi? Previously they were still guessing. But now he actually admitted it. Didn't Lin Wudi kill Long Hai's young master, Long Ao? Why did he still dare to appear in Long Hai? Could it be that he wanted to challenge Long Hai? Impossible. He would be suppressed by the countless Longhai experts. No matter how strong he was, he wouldn't be able to fight against an ancient family, especially a top ancient family. Countless exclamations rang out. The Black Dragon Sage also laughed. Stupid thing. We've been looking for you for a long time, but we couldn't find any clues. We didn't expect you to come here yourself. Since you're courting death, we'll fulfill your wish. Man. With a wave of his hand, the surrounding dragon's experts swarmed over. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He formed a seal with his palms, and an endless black vortex appeared around him. Swallowing the sky and earth, the entire dragon boat was enveloped. Seeing this scene, countless people were terrified. Their scalps went numb. They knew that there would be an earth-shattering battle next. So many people wanted to escape from the dragon boat. But now they didn't dare to. That black vortex cut off everyone's path. Some people went crazy and wanted to try, but they were swallowed. They never appeared again. The others' scalps went numb. The Black Dragon Sage sneered. What? Do you think we'll escape? What a joke. This time we'll use all of our power to kill you. You won't be able to escape. Is that so? Who's the stupid one? We'll know soon enough. Lin Xian was unmoved. He was naturally afraid that these people would escape. He wasn't afraid of the people on the dragon boat, but if the Dragon Sea Lord brought supreme experts over, it would be dangerous. So, he first used the heaven-swallowing jar to swallow and isolate everything. Next was the battle. He wouldn't let any of these people from the Dragon Sea clan go. Attack together. Activate the array and kill this kid. The Black Dragon Sage gave the order. The others all fled. They hid as far away as they could to watch the battle. Lin Xian snorted. Since the Black Dragon Sage recognized him, he didn't plan to hold back. His figure flashed and he charged towards the Black Dragon Sage. In an instant he arrived in front of the Black Dragon Sage. He slashed down and a hell dragon roared crazily. The despicable Black Dragon Sage waved his Black Dragon Hammer to fight back. With a clang, the void shattered. The Black Dragon Sage flew out and vomited blood. Damn it! Give it to me. The surrounding experts charged over. There were 4 people who were in the Great Sage Realm. They were very strong and were very close to the late stage of the Great Sage Realm. They were equivalent to Yunhai's strength. These were 4 experts of the older generation. When they attacked together, they could destroy the world. If it was before, Lin Xian wouldn't be able to resist. After all, he had used all of his strength to kill Yunhai. But it was different now. Lin Xian had broken through. His strength had undergone an earth-shaking change. So, even if the 4 Yunhai attacked together, he could still deal with them. His figure flashed and he instantly dodged. Then he appeared behind an elder and punched out. Boom. The punch, which carried the illusion of 6 worlds, directly smashed the Dragon Clan elder into pieces. Chapter 51-53. The 6-path fist was extremely terrifying. Not only did it have an indomitable force, but it also had the power to press forward. Not only did it have the power to push it to the extreme, it could form the 6-path world to suppress the enemy. At this moment, Lin Xian had suppressed the old man from the dragons into the 6-path world. The old man screamed in pain. Although he didn't die, he couldn't form another attack in a short period of time. He couldn't threaten Lin Xian anymore. Seeing that a single punch had heavily injured a dragon's expert, the surrounding people were shocked. The Black Dragon Lord roared in anger. Damn it, his killing intent surged as he attacked again. Lin Xian used the Hellfire Dragon Sword to fight with him. At the same time he summoned the Yin-Yang God to kill. The ones fighting with Lin Xian were the 5 dragons experts. The others activated the array to attack. Some even wanted to attack. The dark red mystical dragon, Murong Qingqing, and the others made Lin Xian hesitate. However, the dark red mystical dragon, Murong Qingqing, and the others were also top experts. They weren't afraid of these attacks. Together with the Yin-Yang God that Lin Xian had formed, the 2 godlike figures started attacking the array. The battle had completely erupted. Seeing that Lin Xian was being held back by the Black Dragon Lord, another person attacked. It was the woman from before. She transformed into a terrifying dragon shadow that covered the sky. Then she opened her dragon head and bit Lin Xian, wanting to swallow him. On the other side it was a bald man. His eyes were shining with a terrifying light. Eyes of the green dragon. The green light flashed and pierced through everything as it charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian forced the Black Dragon Lord back with a sword. Then he slapped the head of the woman dragons. He sent her flying. The woman's pretty face was instantly smashed as she screamed and flew back. Facing the eyes of the green dragon, Lin Xian's face was cold. His figure flashed and he instantly dodged. He could feel that the pair of eyes contained an extremely powerful force. When the bald dragon saw this, he sneered coldly and charged over. Lin Xian was furious. Stupid thing. His eyes were also shining with a golden light. The reincarnation mountain. Endless reincarnation energy formed a mountain and pressed down. Boom. Both of their gazes collided. There was a clang. Then there were screams of pain. The bald dragon's eyes were bleeding as he flew back. His eye technique was severely injured. He was too powerful. The people in the distance were terrified. With so many Dragon Clan experts besieging Lin Xian alone, they were still unable to do anything to him. Instead, they were beaten by Lin Xian. Was this guy trying to defy the heavens? Lin Xian's attack succeeded, and he charged over again. The reincarnation mountain. The bald dragon screamed. His injuries had worsened. Hurry up and save me. The black dragon sage roared and charged over with the black dragon hammer. Endless thunder blocked Lin Xian's path. Lin Xian didn't attack the bald dragons. Instead, he turned around and attacked the female dragons. The female's face had just recovered when she was sent flying by the sword. In the next moment, she saw Lin Xian reach out with his palm. The power of yin and yang enveloped her. The power of death exploded. Her life force quickly disappeared. Oh. With a wail, she turned into white bones. Dead. The peak character had fallen. This made the dragons go crazy. It was only a matter of time before these people became sages. But now one of them had fallen. This made their hearts bleed. But they realized that this was just the beginning. Next, Lin Xian took out the Great Destruction Spear. In 3 moves he killed the bald dragons. Another peak character had fallen. The Black Dragon Lord was furious. He chased after Lin Xian relentlessly, but Lin Xian used Shadowless, and Heavenly Net appeared and disappeared unpredictably. The Black Dragon Lord was helpless. At this moment, the old man that was suppressed by the 6 paths of reincarnation flew out. His face was pale. After he came out, he gritted his teeth. Damn brat, I will gather all my strength and kill you. However, when he came out, he was stunned. His companions, 2 people, had actually disappeared. Between heaven and earth, there was a sea of blood. Could it be that the 2 of them had fallen? The dragon's old man's scalp went numb. The strength of the 2 wasn't any weaker than his. He didn't even have the strength to fight back? He was terrified. He turned around and fled. Don't you think it's too late to escape now? Lin Xian waved his hand. 9 young divine fire flew out and turned into countless golden crows. They covered the sky and enveloped the old man. The old man was burned to ashes. The 3rd peak expert had fallen. The Black Dragon Lord's face became unsightly. He looked at the 4th person. That person looked younger and had a scar on his face. The Black Dragon Lord said to that person, "Go control the dragon ship and launch an apocalyptic attack. I will restrain him." The 4th person, Scarface Dragon, nodded. He said, "Don't worry, Lord. I will definitely complete the mission." As he spoke, he flew downwards. This time they were going to use the most terrifying power of the dragon ship. Even if they had to destroy the entire dragon ship, they had to kill the other party. Lin Xian frowned and flew forward. However, the Black Dragon Sage stopped him. "Your opponent is me." He waved the Black Dragon Hammer and swept it in all directions. Lin Xian's face was cold. "If you want to die, I will fulfill your wish." He was completely furious. He knew that the dragon ship must have a terrifying trump card. But it needed time to activate. He wouldn't give the other party a chance. He turned into the shadow of a demon god and charged forward. The Black Dragon Lord roared. His body emitted a terrifying light. His bloodline was burning. "Today I will let you see my most terrifying ultimate technique. Black Dragon World Destroying Fist." A destructive aura appeared between the Black Dragon Lord's fists. With a punch, the flesh and blood on his fist turned into nothingness. Clearly, this was a destructive power. If he wanted to kill someone, he would also suffer a great impact. It was a fighting style that would cause both sides to suffer. But the power was really terrifying. Even Lin Xian felt his hair stand on end. For the first time, he didn't take it head-on. With a punch, the endless void shattered, and the entire dragon boat was shaken by the impact. Many of the needles on the ship dimmed. Nothing could block this punch. "What? You don't dare to fight back? Then go to hell." The Black Dragon Sage punched out once again. His other fist had also turned into white bones. The power of this punch was even more terrifying. Lin Xian's expression was cold. "You don't dare to fight back? You think too highly of yourself. I will let you see my strength." Lin Xian stood there. Demonic energy overflowed from his body. A demonic shadow appeared behind him. It slowly raised its palm. Its 5 fingers clenched into a fist and punched out. The demonic figure's entire body was an illusion, but its fist was undeniably real. The materialized fist rushed over and fought against the Black Dragon world-destroying fist. It's useless. You can't block it. The Black Dragon Lord snorted. His fist technique was enough to destroy several worlds in the universe. Chapter 51-54. It was over. Some people from the Dragon Clan laughed. Under this kind of contemptuous fist technique, all resistance was futile. However, the dark red divine dragon and the others laughed as well. They knew that. The demonic shadow behind Lin Xian was very terrifying. The demonic shadow from before could only condense a single finger, and that was enough to sweep everything away. Now that it could condense a fist, how terrifying was its power. The demonic god fist and the world-exterminating fist collided in the sky. The power that could destroy heaven and earth exploded. Countless arrays were shattered at this moment. Some people turned into blood mist. The surrounding black holes in the heaven-devouring jar were constantly moving up and down. Cracks appeared on the Black Dragon ship. One could imagine how terrifying this attack was. After the attack, a shattering sound could be heard. The Black Dragon sage widened his eyes in disbelief. He realized that his Black Dragon world-exterminating fist was shattered. How was this possible? This fist that could destroy thousands of worlds was actually unable to block it? No, at this moment he was finally terrified. He turned around and fled into the distance. He wanted to tear open the whirlpool and escape. However, how could Lin Xian allow him to escape? The demonic god fist was broken. The world-exterminating fist attacked the opponent. The overflowing demonic aura enveloped the opponent. Damn it, you can't kill me. The Black Dragon sage roared crazily. However, no matter how he roared, he couldn't use this fist to penetrate the Black Dragon sage. His body shattered and turned into blood mist. He flew between heaven and earth. Was he dead? Countless people were shocked and didn't dare to believe it. That was a sage, a late-stage great sage. Now he had actually fallen. What kind of fist was this? Everyone looked at the fist with fear. Those from the Dragon Sea race who were still alive were in despair. Their sage had fallen. Who else could contend against Lin Xian? When they thought of the hatred between them, they were nearly scared to death. He was actually so powerful. Ba Tianxue and the others were also terrified. The current Lin Wuti had the divine might of guise. He was no longer a young prodigy but an exceptional expert. A supreme existence that could kill a sage. Furthermore, from the looks of it, Lin Xian should be returning to the Alcade continent. Was he planning to return to Saint Source ancient city? What kind of storm would that set off? If the other princes did not break through, wouldn't they all be trampled under the others' feet? That's great. The dark red divine dragon and the others cheered excitedly. This punch was really too terrifying. Murong Qingqing and the others also laughed. Yushinzi was dumbfounded. He didn't believe Yunyue when she said that the young master was fearless. But now he completely believed it. No wonder Yunyue was so respectful. It turned out that the other party was a godlike existence. In the sky, Lin Xian's face was pale. The power of this punch was beyond his imagination. He didn't even use an extreme Dao weapon and was able to kill a saint, which was truly surprising. However, at the same time he was frowning. That was because that punch had consumed too much power. In particular, he had consumed too much devil chi. Now, there was only half of his strength left in his body. From the looks of it, this ultimate move could only be used 2 to 3 times at most. What kind of existence was the demonic shadow summoned by the demon summoning scripture? Just a fist was enough to sweep through everything. If the entire demonic shadow was summoned, how terrifying would it be? Lin Xian had a lot of guesses about this demonic shadow, but now was not the time to think about it. He still had things to do. His eyes shone with a piercing cold light. A pair of eyes of a god appeared and enveloped the entire dragon boat. Previously, a top-notch expert had escaped. He should have activated his trump card array. He had to find the other party and kill him. At this moment, an extremely terrifying light burst out from his eyes. He found it. He was about to make a move. A rumbling sound came from heaven and earth, and the entire dragon boat shook violently. Then 10,000 dragons roared. The people on the dragon boat were horrified. What happened? They felt the dragons rolling. Was the dragon boat alive? Some people were horrified. The dragon boat was made of the bones of countless dragons after they died. It was abnormally terrifying. At this moment, the dragon soul on the dragon boat must have awakened. There was actually such a thing? Countless people were shocked. The dark red divine dragon's expression also changed. Oh no, I didn't expect them to have a trump card. What's wrong? The toad was surprised. The dark red divine dragon said, "We thought that the strongest was the black dragon sage. Actually, it wasn't. The strongest was this dragon boat." This was a dragon boat that contained endless power and had been sleeping all this time. Usually it would take a long time to activate it. Previously, the black dragon sage was buying time for his people. Now the sleeping power of the dragon boat had awakened. What should they do? Murong Qingqing also frowned. He also felt a sense of horror. It could be imagined that once this sleeping power erupted, it would destroy everything. Between heaven and earth, there was still the shadow of a dragon. The entire ship had completely come to life. The destructive power above was aimed at Lin Xian. Go to hell. In the depths of the dragon boat, the scarred dragons roared ferociously. Even the black dragon sage had fallen. He couldn't believe it. But fortunately, he had finally succeeded in activating the sleeping power. The other party couldn't resist this attack at all. In all directions, four dragon heads appeared. They released a terrifying light of destruction. This power was countless times more terrifying than the black dragon world-destroying fist from before. Even the black dragon sage would not be able to withstand a dragon head. Now that there were 4 dragon heads, could Lin Xian block them? Lin Xian also felt his hair stand on end. At this moment, a dragon head shot out a light of destruction and attacked. Lin Xian quickly dodged and turned into an afterimage. However, after the light of destruction pierced through the afterimage, it still didn't give up. It attacked him. Lin Xian shouted angrily and released the yin-yang god, but it was also torn apart by the light of destruction. He knew that he had to use a powerful trump card. This was the soul power formed by 10,000 dragons. It was abnormally terrifying. Taking a deep breath, the demonic shadow behind him moved again. Demonic God Fist. A black fist punched out, destroying heaven and earth, blocking the light of destruction. Boom. An earth-shattering sound rang out. Lin Xian took 2 steps back. The light of destruction in front of him disappeared. He actually blocked it. Countless people were shocked. This Lin Wuti was too heaven-defying. The dark red divine dragon and the others had ugly expressions. They could see that the danger hadn't disappeared. Sure enough, in the depths of the dragon boat, the scarred man gritted his teeth. Damn it, let's see how many times you can block it. The other 3 dragon heads once again erupted with endless power. They were condensing the light of destruction. Not good, the others were in despair. When these 3 lights of destruction exploded together, everyone's soul would be destroyed. Were the people of Longhai crazy? Lin Xian's face was pale. The demonic shadow behind him slowly disappeared. It was obvious that the previous 2 demonic god fists had consumed most of his power. In addition, he had killed so many experts before this, so the power in his body was already gone. Ah, let's see how you die this time. Chapter 51-55. Lin Xian was indeed powerless now, but he still had the sword world. Feeling the power of the 3 destructive lights, he soared into the sky. The 3 dragon heads also faced the sky and aimed at Lin Xian. Everyone also looked up. This attack should be enough to determine the winner. Boom. 3 beams of destructive light erupted and shot up into the sky. The void around Lin Xian kept shattering, and Lin Xian also felt a huge force. It was as if a hammer had smashed into his body. Destroy, the dragons of the Dragon Sea sneered. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He took a deep breath. In the next moment, a sword shadow appeared in front of him. It was a dragon-shaped sword shadow. Great Dragon Sword Soul. Lin Xian grabbed it and raised it above his head. He held the sword hilt with both hands and slashed down. What was this kid trying to do? Was he going to resist instead of running away? When countless people saw this scene, they were all stunned. What kind of joke was this? They could already see that Lin Xian was powerless. Even if he had the power, the demonic shadow behind him had disappeared. Could he block these 3 destructive lights? Ant reckless. The dragons of the Dragon Sea sneered. Slash. Lin Xian roared and the great dragon sword soul slashed down. At the same time, the power of the sword world also rushed out. At this moment, the great dragon sword soul seemed to have been revived. A sword slash could destroy heaven and earth. Brr, brr. Roars of dragons resounded through the 9 heavens. Countless people were shocked. Their faces were pale and they quickly sealed their hearing. This power was enough to make their ears bleed. The dragons of the Dragon Sea were also excited. Great, the destructive lights were too powerful. However, the scarred man who was controlling the array had a change in expression. That was not right. This was not the roar of the three dragon heads. What was it? Was it from the other party? How could it be like this? In the next moment he saw a sword light slashing down like a peerless divine sword, cutting through the 9 heavens. It collided with the 3 destructive lights. Boom, boom. A dazzling light exploded in the sky as a destructive force swept through the 9 heavens. Fortunately, Lin Xian had arrived above the 9 heavens. Otherwise, this attack would have been enough to shatter the entire dragon boat. Even so, the dragon boat continued to roll, and the entire dragon sea was surging. The boundless sea was torn apart as if the end of the world was coming. Those people on the dragon boat felt their scalps go numb. They closed their eyes tightly. At this moment, their lives were in the hands of someone else. Intense rumbling sounds could be heard as countless people waited. Had Lin Wuti fallen? The storm would probably last for a long time. Everyone was terrified. However, at this moment, a clap of thunder sounded between heaven and earth, and all of the destructive power was split apart by the sword. The sword light between heaven and earth became the only thing in the world. Everyone opened their eyes. What had happened? What is that? They saw Lin Xian wielding the divine sword and slicing the light of destruction into 2 halves. The terrifying storm of destruction was also torn apart by the sword. It was broken. They were shocked. At this moment, Lin Xian was like the resurrection of the sword god. Lin Xian had the 4 forces that could sweep across all directions. With one sword strike, he destroyed the light of destruction. He stood in the 9 heavens. With a stomp of his feet, the void in the sky shattered. The devouring vortex swallowed all of the energy. Lin Xian stepped into the air and walked towards the depths of the dragon boat. How was that possible? The people of the Dragon Sea clan were in despair. In the depths of the dragon boat, the scarred man also couldn't believe it. Didn't the other party have no power? How could he block the 3 light of destruction? In the next moment she retreated in fear. She found that Lin Xian had already appeared in front of her. Damn kid, what do you want to do? I'm warning you, if you dare to touch me, Dragon Sea won't let you go. As soon as he finished speaking, his head flew up. The sword was drawn and the man was killed. The scarred man's eyes widened. Even in death he couldn't believe that he would be killed in one move. Turning around, Lin Xian left. In the next moment he arrived on the deck. Countless people watched in horror. Lin Xian walked towards Long Qianshan and the others. Long Qianshan and the others were in despair. They knelt on the ground. Spare us, we won't dare to do it again. Go to hell and say that. Lin Xian waved his hand, condensed the sword of death and slashed at Long Qianshan. Long Qianshan wanted to escape, but he instantly turned into white bones. The other powerhouses of the Dragon Sea clan were also killed by him with the power of death. Dead, they were all dead. On the dragon boat, the people of the Dragon Sea clan were all killed. The others were also terrified. They had seen it with their own eyes. Would the other party kill them to silence them? Seeing Lin Xian's gaze, the surrounding people lowered their heads. Young master, please have mercy. We didn't see anything. We swear that we won't say a word about what happened today. Otherwise, our souls will be destroyed. Ba Tianxue and the others also lowered their heads and begged for mercy. With the other party's strength, it would be easy for him to kill them. Lin Xian said, I can spare your lives, but you can't leave the dragon boat for the time being. I have something important to do. Stay here obediently and be safe. If anyone wants to escape, don't blame me for sending them to hell. After saying that, Lin Xian turned around and walked towards the palace inside. He wanted to go into seclusion to recover. The previous battle had consumed too much energy. The last sword strike had even used the power of the sword world. He had to recover quickly. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to the dark red dragon, telling him to take control of the ship as quickly as possible. Because he knew that although Long Hai didn't know about what happened here, Long Hai definitely knew about the deaths of so many powerhouses. At that time, the other party would also send experts to investigate, so they had to take control of the dragon boat. They had to speed up and avoid the other party's investigation and pursuit. Don't worry, leave it to me. The dark red dragon flew in and prepared to take control of the dragon boat. He was also a member of the dragons and an array master. Lin Xian wasn't too worried. The others stayed obediently. No one dared to escape. As expected, the Dragon Sea clan received the news. The death of a holy lord was such a big matter, so they naturally knew who had died. The Dragon Sea lord was furious. Ever since Lin Wuti disappeared, their Dragon Sea clan had been peaceful for a long time. Why was there another accident today? Reporting to the Patriarch, it was the Black Dragon Lord. His soul jade tablet shattered and he died. The Black Dragon Lord. Patriarch Longhai's expression changed. Wasn't he on the dragon boat? Could it be that there was a problem with the dragon boat? Quickly go and investigate. Inform the people nearby to investigate clearly. Patriarch Longhai felt uneasy. He had a feeling that something big was about to happen. There were 2 dragon boats near the Dragon Sea. After receiving the news, they quickly searched. They were looking for the Black Dragon boat. The Dark Red Dragon had already taken control of the Black Dragon boat. It used the power of the array formation on the boat to accelerate forward. Its speed was twice as fast as before, turning into a bolt of lightning between heaven and earth. It was too dangerous. The Toad also said. It was almost detected by the other party. However, it still had to speed up. The other party was catching up. Chapter 51-56. Under the control of the Dark Red Divine Dragon, the Black Dragon ship sped up again. Finally, they left the area of investigation. Although the 2 ships behind them were still chasing after them, they were no longer in danger. They were able to successfully reach the shore before the other party could investigate. Lin Xian cultivated and recovered in the sword world, and 2 days later he came out. The strength in his body had also recovered. He found the Dark Red Divine Dragon and asked, "How is it?" The Dark Red Divine Dragon said that the array formation above had been broken, but there was a problem. That was the sleeping power of the Black Dragon ship. There were 4 dragon heads on it. The 4 that attacked you before, I can't deal with them. I'll give it a try. Lin Xian decided to negotiate with the 4 dragon heads. After all, the 4 dragon heads were too dangerous. If they self-destructed, they would probably be caught up in an instant. But would it be dangerous? Murong Qingqing was worried. Lin Xian laughed. Don't worry, I can be considered half a dragon and I have the great dragon sword spirit, they will recognize me. Lin Xian's body was surrounded by the aura of the dragon soul, and he flew towards the depths of the Black Dragon ship. Finally, he arrived at the core where there was a secret room. Inside the secret room there were 4 dragon heads in 4 directions. They emitted an ancient and mysterious aura. After Lin Xian arrived, the 4 dragon heads bloomed with an extremely terrifying radiance. Their gazes carried an aura of destruction. Lin Xian snorted coldly, and the terrifying power of the great dragon sword spirit surged out from his body. A dragon shadow swept across the 9 heavens. Feeling the power of the dragon soul, the 4 dragon heads shook violently. Lin Xian looked at them and said coldly, "I am this generation's successor of the great dragon. I had no choice but to make a move against Longhai. After you submit, I will bring the dragons to the peak," Lin Xian said in a sonorous voice. The 4 dragon heads quieted down, and the destructive aura on their bodies disappeared. The entire secret room became incomparably quiet. "Very good, I'll take it as your agreement." Lin Xian turned and left. After settling the 4 dragon heads, the Black Dragon ship's speed became even faster. Half a month later, a continuous mountain range appeared in front of them. Murong Qingqing and the others all smiled. They could finally see the Yaoguang continent. Yunyu was also surprised. This speed was 5 times faster than before. Lin Xian summoned everyone on the Black Dragon ship and gathered them on the deck. He looked at these people and said, "They were already about to reach Yaoguang continent. However, I can't let you go yet. You will have to cultivate on the dragon boat." With that, Lin Xian led Murong Qingqing, the Crimson Dragon, the Toad, and Yunyu away. Their group rose into the air. The heaven-swallowing jar glowed brightly and swallowed the dragon boat. Lin Xian's group flew towards the Yuanguang continent. 10 days after they left, 2 more dragon boats arrived. Dragon Sea experts were descending from above. Damn it, the aura of the Black Dragon legend had actually disappeared. Damn it, what's going on? Could it be that he went to the Yaoguang continent? Damn it, who was it? They actually dared to steal our Black Dragon ship. These people roared crazily. They didn't even have a clue. Holy Abyss, Ancient City, Tao Sect, Divine Union. At this moment, the Tao Sect had also calmed down. Those Emperor-level figures were all cultivating. Nothing shocking had happened. There was only some news from the Yuheng continent. As for Lin Xian's matters, there was also less and less news. Therefore it was exceptionally calm. The people of the Divine Union were anxiously investigating. Rumor had it that their boss Lin had encountered divine punishment and fallen. They didn't believe it. They even decided to head to the Yuheng continent to search for news about Lin Xian. However, before they could set off, a few figures had already returned. "Boss, it's you." Nalan Liang Yu Ren and the others were stunned. Bai Susu's eyes were also red. You didn't die. That's great. I knew that you wouldn't agree so easily. The entire Divine Union was extremely shocked. The Crimson Dragon set up an array and isolated all news. Then he said, how could we have fallen? We still have to deal with the Dragon Prince when we return. The people of the Divine Union were extremely happy. Everyone held a banquet and it was very lively. Of course, everything was isolated by the array. The people outside didn't know that Lin Xian had returned. A few days later, everyone gradually calmed down. Bai Susu found Lin Xian and said, Kid, what do you plan to do next? Are you really going to make a move on the Dragon Prince? Although your strength has increased during this period, the Dragon Prince isn't weak either. His strength must have increased during this period. It was said that he was very close to becoming a great sage. He was only a step away. Lin Xian smiled. Is that so? He hadn't broken through to become a great sage. What about Kuan Pengzi? Bai Susu shook his head. No. Although they hadn't broken through to become a great sage, their strength was equivalent to a great sage. One had to know that they had the bloodline of an emperor. It was 10 times harder for them to break through to become a top genius. How could it be so easy to break through? Lin Xian smiled. But I broke through. Bai Susu was shocked. What? What did you break through? In the next moment she sucked in a cold breath. Don't tell me you broke through to become a great sage? She didn't dare to believe it. Lin Xian smiled. That's right. I did break through to become a great sage. Lin Xian released his law power. Bai Susu felt a sense of horror. You really broke through. It was too unbelievable. Only now did he understand why the other party dared to make a move on the Dragon Prince. This guy actually broke through before the Emperor. It could be said that he was above the Emperor. He was extremely excited. I also want to see the situation of the Emperor being suppressed. That's right. Kid, you have to hurry because the Dragon Prince is going to call for a battle of the young titans. One of them will be a young paragon. A battle of the young paragons? Lin Xian was shocked. Bai Susu said, that's right. It seems that he wants to use this battle to break through the shackles and become a great sage. Kuan Pengzi also had the same intention, so he agreed to participate. With the two princes taking the lead, all the top geniuses and experts of the entire Alcade continent were paying attention. Other than them, there were many people who were preparing to participate. For example, Yi Wudao and Gu Feng. Although they were not princes, they had cultivated the great emperor's ancient scriptures. Their strength was also unfathomable. Other than them, the top geniuses of the 3 great orthodoxies would also participate. For example, the Earth Sect's overlord. Other than that, the other great orthodoxies and ancient families might also send their most outstanding geniuses to participate in the battle of the young paragons. Could be said that a storm was brewing. If you want to make a move, you can trample the Dragon Prince under your feet on this battlefield in front of the world. I don't think he will be able to break through. His Dao heart will probably collapse. Very good. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a piercing cold light. First, he would shatter the Dragon Prince's Dao heart. Next, he would unite the power of the Desolate Tower and kill him together. He asked, when will the battle of the young paragons begin? 3 months later. 3 months was very fast. Lin Xian nodded. All right, I will participate in this battle. Oh right, the news of my return must not be spread. Otherwise, I'm afraid he won't dare to come. Chapter 51-57. The Battle of the Young Titans. The Dragon Prince initiated a battle that gathered all the young geniuses. Countless people were shocked. Those who thought they were top geniuses were ready to participate. Those who weren't qualified were also ready to watch. This was probably the most intense battle of all the top geniuses in the Yaoguang continent. Sure enough, more and more people gathered at the Saint Origin battlefield. That was the ancient battlefield, where countless super mighty figures and peerless powerhouses had fought. It was enough for the young titans to have a good fight there. Countless families and sects, as well as the older generation powerhouses, were ready to watch. Perhaps a young supreme being would emerge from this battle. The 2 princes who had been confirmed to participate in the battle became 2 mountains in everyone's heart. The Dragon Prince and the Kunping child. These 2 were incomparably terrifying. Perhaps their existence could crush everything. However, there were also people who were confident. For example, Yi Wudao, Gu Feng, and the others were ready to participate. Among them, the ancient wind began to sweep in all directions. Previously, it was the Dragon Prince, Lin Xian, and the others who stood out. He had been unknown. But now he had cultivated the ancient void scripture to a terrifying level. Therefore he challenged all the geniuses. One after another, the top powerhouses of the families and sects were defeated by him in less than 10 moves. Countless people were shocked. Another peerless expert had appeared. Yi Wudao didn't challenge anyone, but someone else challenged him. In the end, he couldn't even block a punch from Yi Wudao. Countless people were shocked. They knew that these two were peerless geniuses who cultivated the ancient earth scripture. In addition to them, the overlord of the tyrants and the powerhouses of the Golden Crows. Even the experts of the Purple Mansion realm walked out one after another. These people swept the world and made a name for themselves. They were preparing for the final battle. There was another person who took action, and that was Yao Guang. However, he was very low-key and didn't attack anyone. However, his figure was present in every battle. Among those who lost, there would always be people who would mysteriously disappear. He was the one who assassinated them and swallowed their corpses. He cultivated the demonic heaven-devouring art, and no one knew what level he had reached. The time was getting closer and closer, and there were many experts in the ancient city. There were already figures flickering on the battlefield. Those who had attacked before didn't take action. Instead, they began to cultivate in seclusion. They adjusted their physique to the peak and prepared for the strongest battle. In the last few days, these experts began to appear. They all headed to the Saint Origin battlefield. The Saint Origin battlefield was an ancient battlefield inside the ancient city. It was incomparably vast. Moreover, this place was very hard, so there was no need to worry about it being broken. Outside the battlefield, there was a sea of people. Countless experts had gathered. They were looking forward to it. Look, that's the Dragon Prince. They saw a figure standing there with his hands clasped behind his back. Tens of thousands of dragons circled around him, making him look like a peerless dragon god. He was the Dragon Prince. He was too powerful. Sensing the bloodline aura of the other party, countless people cried out in alarm. The people from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty were delighted. The young paragon is definitely our Dragon Prince. However, there were also people who snorted coldly. The people of the Sky Sect laughed. It was too early to speak. Dragon Prince is not invincible. Our Kun Pingzi is the strongest. As he spoke, everyone looked over again. A man surrounded by a black and white aura descended. He was like a heavenly deity, his might overwhelming the surroundings. His aura was no weaker than the Dragon Prince's. In fact, it was even more terrifying. Its appearance made the Dragon Prince's eyes shine fiercely. The gazes of the two princes clashed and swept across the 9 heavens. Everyone was excited. They were finally going to witness the battle between the two princes. In addition to them, there was also a figure who was emitting purple light. Like a purple god of war, it was the Yi family's sage physique Yi Wudao. With a stomp of his foot, the earth shook and the mountains shook. A terrifying aura rushed toward the two princes. Obviously, Yi Wudao was going to take out his true battle strength to challenge the princes. The void shattered, and a figure suddenly appeared. Countless people exclaimed, and even the pupils of the older generation shrank. Because before this they had not sensed anyone at all. It was the top genius of the Gu family, Gu Feng. The ancient void scripture, the power of space, appeared and disappeared unpredictably. Countless people were shocked. The Dragon Prince and Kun Pengzi also frowned. The sage physique was very terrifying and had infinite strength. The ancient void scripture had the legend that space was king. These two people could not be underestimated. Of course, they were very confident and fearless. In addition to them, the other powerhouses and geniuses also went up one after another. Standing on the Holy Abyss battlefield, one figure after another was like a god-fiend. Look, that's the Overlord. That's the genius of the Golden Crow clan. That's the elite of the Purple Mansion realm. The 9 successors of the Purple Mansion realm this time were all very mysterious. Countless people exclaimed. A figure stood in the crowd, his eyes flickering. He was wearing a white robe and had a handsome face. It was Yao Guang. At this moment he was extremely excited. Fight, it would be best if you all turned the world upside down and died. At that time I'll devour all of you. Up until now he had devoured many geniuses, but he had not devoured any princes. He wanted to have a taste of the princes. Who do you think will win in the end? I think there are a few people who have a chance. It's useless. I think the two princes are still the strongest. No one else can challenge the princes. As soon as these words came out, some people were unhappy. Who said that? Have you forgotten about Lin Wudi? Many people's faces changed when they heard this name. How could they forget this name? However, this name had become a taboo. Who dared to mention it at this time? Who was so reckless? They turned their heads. It was the people of the Divine Union. Countless people were shocked. Bai Susu and the others also came, who said that the princes were undefeatable. Back then, Lin Wuti defeated the Dragon Prince with his own strength. Nothing is absolute in this world. I think Yi Wudao has a chance too. The others were silent. That was indeed the case. Some people said that it was a pity that Lin Wuti no longer existed. Many experts of the older generation sighed. Such a genius who had been crowned as a king had actually fallen? They had heard that he had encountered divine punishment in the Yuheng continent. His body and soul had been completely destroyed. What a pity. If he was still alive, this battle would be even more exciting. Indeed, a champion could definitely sweep across the continent of the 9 clouds. However, no matter how strong he was, he could not resist divine punishment. The people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty snorted coldly. A dead person was not qualified to be compared to the Dragon Prince. On the ancient battlefield, the Dragon Prince sneered when he heard this. Regardless of whether he is dead or not, if he dares to appear again, I can suppress him with one hand. There was a terrifying light in the Dragon Prince's eyes. He was now only a step away from the great sage. Presumably, after the primeval war, he would immediately break through to become a great sage. At that time, his strength would undergo a tremendous change. Chapter 51-58. Kun Pengzi shook his head and sighed. Lin Wuti was very strong, but it was a pity that he couldn't fight with him. To be honest, he also wanted to fight with Lin Xian after he was crowned king. It was a pity that Lin Xian had died. Yi Wudao's eyes flickered. He believed in brother Lin. He had always felt that Lin Xian wouldn't die so easily. On the other side, Gu Feng snorted. Dead. He deserved it. He didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Had he died? On the Z Mansion's side, Qin Xianer sighed. She didn't expect that Lin Xian had already died when they met again. Disappointment appeared in her eyes. At this moment, the Dragon Prince shouted coldly. Alright, there's no need to waste time on a dead person. The battle of the young paragons could begin. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people became excited. Who would be the first to attack? The battle between the Dragon Prince and Kun Pengzi would probably be the last. Indeed, it wouldn't be easy for the two princes to decide the winner. I'll go first. Qin Xianer walked out. She was dressed in red, and her face was so beautiful that it would shock anyone who saw her. A long sword appeared in her hand. The sword light was like water and carried a biting cold aura. She was so beautiful. Countless people exclaimed when they saw this scene. She was one of the successors of the Z Mansion. Who was she going to challenge? Qin Xianer stared at Gu Feng with a cold light in her eyes. Previously, some people had sighed at Lin Xian. However, Gu Feng had mocked and said that it was good that Lin Xian had died. Qin Xianer couldn't stand it. Hence, at this moment she attacked Gu Feng. She pointed her sword forward. Countless people exclaimed. It was Gu Feng. Gu Feng's lips curled up into a smile. Fairy wants to challenge me? Come on then. He stood in the void and his figure swayed. He seemed to be independent of heaven and earth. To be honest, Gu Feng's target this time was the two princes. Hence, even if Qin Xianer was one of the successors of the magistrate, he didn't care at all. Qin Xianer's expression was cold. She stomped her feet and flew out like lightning. The autumn water sword in her hand slashed down and the sword light turned into the only thing in the world. What a fast and terrifying sword technique. Countless people were shocked. Previously, they felt that Qin Xianer was overestimating herself by challenging Gu Feng. But from the looks of it now, the other party definitely had the strength to do so. Probably not many people would be able to withstand this sword strike. As expected of a top genius, the successor of the Purple Mansion. No one who had come to the Holy Gulf battlefield was weak. Countless cries of surprise could be heard. Ancient Wind was also stunned. A terrifying sword technique? His figure flickered and instantly disappeared. The place where he had been standing had been torn apart by the sword chi. He appeared in another location. Qin Xianer attacked again, her sword chi sweeping across the land. Gu Feng appeared and disappeared mysteriously. Suddenly, Qin Xianer became one with her sword. The sword stabbed out at an extremely fast speed. This time, Gu Feng did not dodge, causing countless people to cry out in surprise. Could it be that he could not dodge? The corners of Qin Xianer's mouth curled up into a smile. However, in the next moment she was stunned. That was because she saw Gu Feng forming a seal. A crack appeared in front of him. It was a spatial crack that severed the heaven and earth. However, she felt as if she had entered a swamp, and her movements became difficult. She was actually unable to stab her opponent with her sword. What was going on? She was clearly very close. Why couldn't she hurt him? The surrounding young dancers were all stunned. So close, yet worlds apart. One of the older generation experts said in a deep voice. Although it was only a meter away, the ancient wind had formed a folded space. The real distance was probably millions of miles away, so Qin Xianer could not hurt him at all. What? So terrifying. Folded space? What kind of technique was this? Countless people were shocked. Was this a spatial god art? It was too unbelievable. Qin Xianer also frowned. What a strange spatial god art. She formed a seal with her left hand and stretched out her fingers. Petals danced on her fingertips and charged forward. The void kept shattering. Peerless god art, void shattering finger, specialized in shattering the void. It's useless. You are not my opponent at all. Gu Feng smiled in disdain and formed a seal again, forming a spatial barrier that directly enveloped Qin Xianer. Qin Xianer felt an invisible force that wanted to tear her body apart. She retreated. How could he be so strong? Qin Xianer's face turned pale. Although she was at the same level as him, his technique was too strange. Was this the inheritance of the great emperor? She suddenly felt a sense of despair. One had to know that as the successor of the Purple Mansion sect, she cultivated the ancient sages' god arts. She was a top genius. Even if 10 of the other geniuses joined forces, they could not block one of her attacks. However, even after learning so many god arts, compared to the inheritance of the great emperor, they were still too far away. The difference was like heaven and earth. Was the great emperor so terrifying? Qin Xianer's eyes were filled with loneliness. She did not attack again. The surrounding people also exclaimed. Gu Feng was too strong. This Gu Feng was unbelievably strong. The young geniuses were filled with despair. Some of them even shook their heads immediately. Previously they still thought that they could attack Gu Feng. Now they did not dare to, even if they were beaten to death. Gu Feng stood there with his hands behind his back and said loudly, "It's useless. You are not my opponent at all." Countless experts of the remote antiquity family and peerless sect frowned. There were probably no more than 5 people who could fight Gu Feng. On a mountain peak in the distance, a mysterious figure stood there, looking forward with flickering eyes. The ancient void scripture was indeed powerful. Then she looked around and frowned slightly. Why was Lin Xian not here yet? Was he going to miss this battle? She was Yen Ryu. She came here to watch the battle of the Dragon Prince. After all, her enemy was the Dragon Prince. She wanted to see how powerful the Dragon Prince was. At the same time, she came here to wait for Lin Xian and prepare to meet him. Then they would work together to discuss a plan to kill the Dragon Prince. However, it seemed that Lin Xian had not shown up yet. Lin Xian was already here. He just did not show up. He was waiting. He wanted to see how powerful these people were. Seeing Qin Xianer stand up for him, Lin Xian felt warmth in his heart. Then his face darkened. Gu Feng, he would not let him go later. At this moment, another person walked over. It was the Overlord. He looked at Yi Wudao and said in a deep voice, "I want to see how powerful your unparalleled saint body is. Please enlighten me." Yi Wudao strode over, his body exuding an extremely terrifying light. The Overlord's expression was solemn. He took a step forward and punched out. The Overlord's divine fist. An extremely heavy power swept through the 9 heavens like a boundless sea. The entire space was shattered into pieces. The people around felt their scalps go numb. This punch seemed to be able to tear any great sage into pieces. No one could resist it. In response, Leaf Dao Denier laughed heartily. He also punched out, turning into a 9 heavens immortal king and descending from the sky. Chapter 51-59. The collision between the immortal king and the Overlord caused an earth-shattering sound. Then a figure was pushed back. The Overlord pushed back, causing the ground to shake. One of his arms was hanging down and he could no longer feel it. He was too strong. Although he was a top genius of the Overlord tribe and a terrifying Overlord body, he could even kill a mid-stage great sage with one punch. But he was suppressed by the other party. In the next moment he stretched out his left hand and said, "Again." At this moment, endless blood energy surged from his body, and the wind and clouds changed. Rays of light fell from the sky and landed on the Overlord's body. The Overlord roared, and his aura was powerful. His body kept growing as if he had turned into a giant. Barbarian God Palm. This attack was like the resurrection of the barbarian god. Its power was several times stronger than before. Countless people were shocked. The overlord was so terrifying, and his power was probably very close to that of a sage. Sure enough, the older generation people also looked serious. These people were only at the peak of the Sage King realm, and they were already so terrifying? Lin Xian was also shocked. He knew how powerful Yi Wudao was. He had met the Overlord tribe before, and he had even fought with the Overlord. He didn't expect the Overlord tribe to be able to unleash such terrifying power. It was really shocking. But he believed that Yi Wudao could handle it. The Overlord tribe cultivated the ancient scripture of earth. At this moment, the Hellfire Dragon's voice rang in his mind. The Overlord tribe was fighting with a sage body again, but unfortunately, it was just an ordinary Overlord body. Ordinary Overlord body, what did that mean? Lin Xian was confused. The Hellfire Dragon said, "Do you know that sage bodies have an enemy, and that is the Overlord body?" But it was not an ordinary Overlord body, but the Overlord body of the heavens. Lin Xian was shocked. Was it very powerful? The Hellfire Dragon said, "Very powerful. I remember that the Overlord body of the heavens once killed a sage body." Lin Xian was shocked. A sage body of the heavens could fight against a great emperor, but it was killed by the Overlord body of the heavens. That kind of body must be extremely terrifying. The Overlord tribe was not to be underestimated. Boom. As he spoke, another earth-shattering sound came from the front. The Overlord used the barbarian god's palm, while Leaf Daodenier opened his palm. Behind him was the phantom of an immortal king. This palm strike was even more powerful than before. Immortal kings descended from the 9 heavens, sweeping through the mortal world. The barbaric god's fist was suppressed once again. This time the Overlord retreated. His blood and chi churned as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Were the members of the tyrants injured? It was still too difficult. The elder of the earth sect shook his head and sighed. Even though the Overlord's physique was extraordinary, he did not possess the ancient Great Earth Scripture after all. I actually lost, Overlord. My hands are numb and I can't punch for a while. He laughed bitterly. I didn't expect you to be so strong. Thank you for letting me win. Yi Daodenier said coolly. The illusions of the 9 heavens disappeared. The Overlord took a deep breath. He said that although he had lost, it did not mean that the tyrants had lost. The surrounding people were shocked. What did that mean? Could it be that there was an even more terrifying genius in the tyrants? If they remembered correctly, the tyrant was the #1 genius of the tyrants. Even Leaf Daodenier was taken aback. Kunpingzi frowned. Could it be? The Overlord laughed. That's right, I'm not the #1 genius of the tyrants. We have an even more terrifying genius in the tyrants. He's the tyrant body of the heavens. Kunpingzi was shocked. The other elders also exclaimed. The tyrant body of the heavens was such an ancient name. However, no one dared to underestimate him. These words were as heavy as a mountain, causing everyone to be terrified. The young geniuses did not understand. What was the tyrant body of the heavens? Was it very powerful? When the elders said that the tyrant body of the heavens had killed a sage physique, the young geniuses were stunned. A short sentence was enough to explain the terror of the tyrant body of the heavens. The members of the Yi family also frowned. That kind of physique had appeared again? 50,000 years ago, a sage physique had appeared in the Yi family. In the end, he was killed by the tyrant body of the heavens. How could they forget this matter? They did not expect that such a bloodline would appear in the tyrants again. Yi Daodenier took a deep breath and said coldly, "Is he here yet? I'll fight him." His eyes were filled with a fierce battle intent. The Overlord said. He was still cultivating in seclusion at the moment. However, don't worry, he will come out soon. Alright, I'll wait for him. Yi Daodenier was also very confident. He was not afraid of anything. Yi Daodenier and Gu Feng showed their strength one after another. Everyone was shocked. These few people probably had the qualifications to challenge the Emperor's son. The others were no match for them at all. For a moment, no one dared to challenge them. However, they all attacked each other. Among them, a few dazzling figures appeared. For example, a powerful genius from the Golden Crow tribe walked out. It was a woman. She was the Golden Crow princess. Her strength and physique were also very strong. Her flames were even more terrifying. They could melt everything. Apart from the Dragon Prince, a few other top geniuses from the Thousand Dragon Court stepped out. Among them was a person called Long Lei. Terrifying lightning circled around his body as he looked down on the Divine Union. Lin Wudi is dead. Is there no one in the Divine Union who can fight? I think you should disband as soon as possible. A cold voice was heard, causing the members of the Dragon Palace to laugh. How could the Divine Union be compared to the dragons? The members of the Divine Union gnashed their teeth in anger. Everyone else had strange expressions on their faces. They looked like they were watching a show. Both the Dragon Palace and the Divine Union were factions of the True Path sect. Had the battle between them not ended yet? It seemed like it would continue. On the Divine Union's side, Baisusu gritted her teeth. What was there to be arrogant about? She walked out. If you want to fight, I'll keep you company. After Baisusu came out, she formed a seal with her palms and formed 4 clones that covered the sky. An earth-shattering power swept through the 9 heavens. Countless people were shocked. These were clones, right? Each one was extremely terrifying. She could actually form 4 clones in an instant. How extraordinary. It seemed like the Divine Union had other top experts besides Lin Xian. Long Lei sneered. He was unmoved. Look at me. 10,000 thunder palm. He raised his palm and waved his dragon claw. Lightning gathered on it, forming a lightning net that covered the sky. The battle with Baisusu was very intense. However, after 100 moves, a tail suddenly appeared behind Long Lei and struck Baisusu's shoulder. It sent Baisusu flying. A crack appeared on Baisusu's shoulder and she spat out a mouthful of blood. She was injured. Countless people were shocked. The members of the Divine Union were also shocked. Damn it. Was that a hidden weapon? He actually had a tail. Those people gritted their teeth. The other party had hidden it too well. Chapter 5160. Long Lei was unusually arrogant. However, his opponent's strength was terrifying. Even Baisusu had been defeated. Even the other members of the Divine Union had no chance of winning. Lin Xian transmitted his voice to the void. Susu, come back. I'll avenge you. Baisusu walked back. The people of the Divine Union hurriedly asked, Senior Sister Bai, are you all right? She was fine, just a little injured. They had not expected this guy to be hiding a tail. Baisusu gritted her teeth and swallowed an elixir. The people of the Dragon Palace sneered. Without Lin Wudi you are nothing. Surrender obediently as soon as possible. Otherwise you will all die without a burial ground. The people of the Dragon Palace started to show off. Long Lei continued to clamor. Come on. If one of you is not a match, I'll allow 2 of you to come at me together. If all 10 of you can come at me together, I can suppress all of you with one hand. As long as you are from the Divine Union, I will accept your challenge. Baisusu gritted her teeth. This was too arrogant. Nalan Liang snorted. You said that when the people of the Divine Union came, you had to accept the challenge. Of course, no problem. I'm just afraid you don't have any experts. Baisusu sneered. Just you wait. They knew that Lin Xian was nearby. When the time came they would see how Lin Xian would die. Long Lei did not care. After ruthlessly suppressing the Divine Dragon, he turned and left smugly. Next, the geniuses of the Blue Tribe and the powerhouses of the Dragon Sea also challenged the Divine Union. They were immensely pleased. In an instant, everyone thought that the Divine Union was finished. After Lin Wudi's death and being targeted by so many powerhouses, the outcome would probably be miserable. Next, the battles continued. Some powerhouses and geniuses tried to challenge the Emperor's son. In the end, the Dragon Prince and Kun Pengzi simply ignored them. Their opponents were too weak and did not qualify to challenge them. Those people could only challenge Yi Wudao and Gu Feng. In the end, they were defeated within 10 moves. After the great conqueror recovered his strength, he looked ahead. He looked at Kun Pengzi and said, I want to fight the Emperor's son. Please give me a chance. Kun Pengzi nodded. As you wish, use your strongest move. Although the great conqueror had been defeated, he was still a top genius and qualified to challenge them. Furthermore, he would be able to show everyone exactly how strong the Crown Prince was. Tyrant took a deep breath and roared as he threw a punch forward. Barbaric God's palm. The terrifying palm covered the sky. In the face of such a terrifying attack, the Kunping only stretched out a finger and pointed forward. A black and white aura revolved around his finger. With a point of his finger, the mountains and rivers shattered. The barbarian god's palm shattered into pieces. The overlord was also sent flying while coughing up blood. A bloody hole had appeared on his body. Fortunately, it wasn't a vital part. He knew that Kun Pengzi had already shown mercy. His scalp went numb. Many thanks for showing mercy. The surrounding people were all shocked. Wasn't this too powerful? Earlier, when Leaf Daodenier had fought back against the barbarian god's palm, he had used the immortal king descends to the 9 heavens. But now, Kun Pengzi had severely injured the tyrant with just a finger. What kind of power was this? Was this the strength of the crown prince? It was simply unimaginable. The laws of yin and yang are indeed powerful. I want to experience it for myself. Leaf Dao Denier strode forward, his voice resounding. The others were all shaken. It seemed like a top-level battle was about to start. Kunpingzi nodded. As you wish. He also wanted to experience the terror of the Yi family's unparalleled Saint Physique and the Heavenly Emperor Sutra. Leaf Dao Denier didn't dare to be careless. In an instant, the purple light on his body condensed into the phantom of an immortal king. The immortal king descends to the 9 heavens. The terrifying phantom stood indomitable and suppressed the 8 desolates. Countless people were shocked. Did he use this kind of ultimate technique as soon as he appeared? From the looks of it, Leaf Dao Denier was also facing a great enemy. Facing this ultimate technique, Kunpingzi didn't use a single finger. Instead he slapped out with his palm. His palm turned into a Kunpeng that soared between heaven and earth. Heaven and earth shattered, and the entire ancient battlefield shook. So powerful. Countless people retreated. The immortal king and the Kunpeng fought. A heaven-shaking voice resounded through heaven and earth. Law swept out. At this moment, Leaf Dao Denier took a step forward and instantly disappeared. When he appeared, he was already behind Kunpingzi. A pair of fists charged towards Kunpingzi's head. What a fast speed. Countless people were shocked. Was this a spatial divine ability? They were all stunned. This kind of speed made even the scalps of the Gu family tingle. Gu Feng's face darkened. The people of the heavenly sect said, 10,000 steps in an instant. This was a peerless movement technique in the Heavenly Emperor Sutra. It was a great emperor's divine ability. No wonder it was so powerful. This movement technique was no different from spatial teleportation. Kunpingzi was still not afraid. A pair of wings appeared on his back. The laws of yin and yang circulated on them and slashed behind, turning into 2 heavenly blades. They collided with Leaf Dao Denier's fist. The surroundings trembled and Leaf Dao Denier retreated. The black and white heavenly blades attacked, but in an instant, Leaf Dao Denier used it again. 10,000 steps in an instant. He dodged quickly. He came forward and merged with the heaven and earth phenomenon, immortal king descending to the 9th heaven. He formed a seal with both hands and enveloped Kunpingzi. 10,000 miles of deity ground. A barrier formed in front of him as if it had turned into an immortal world. A mysterious aura bloomed. Kunpingzi felt a huge pressure. In this deity ground, Leaf Dao Denier was the ruler. Kunpingzi roared angrily. The other party had a great emperor's divine ability. Did he not have one? Yin and yang reversed and heaven and earth reversed. Black and white light bloomed in his eyes, and a terrifying power of yin and yang swept out. The entire deity ground shook violently. Endless mountains and rivers were shattered, and the sky was destroyed. It was a scene of apocalypse. Even the primordial battlefield outside was shaking non-stop. The people in the surroundings felt a terrifying aura that wanted to tear their bodies apart. It was too terrifying. They retreated frantically. Boom. The deity ground in front of them shattered. Kunpingzi charged out powerfully. He covered yin and yang with one hand and attacked Leaf Dao Denier. He sent Leaf Dao Denier flying. Was he defeated? Countless people were shocked. Kunpingzi was too strong. However, Leaf Dao Denier roared. Although cracks appeared on his body, they quickly healed. His recovery ability was too strong. Countless people were shocked. The ancient Tao Heart Sutra. Gu Feng gritted his teeth. The Dragon Prince also narrowed his eyes. The Yi family had a great emperor who was called Celestial Emperor Yi. He was an extremely powerful figure, and the Celestial Emperor Sutra he left behind was all-encompassing. All kinds of divine abilities were endless. This recovery power was one of the ultimate techniques in the Heaven and Earth Sutra. He didn't expect Leaf Dao Denier to cultivate this too. Was he going to become the second Celestial Emperor of the Yi family? So strong. Lin Xin was also surprised. These great emperors' ancient sutras were really terrifying. It seemed that none of the people in front of him were weak. He felt his blood boil. The others exclaimed. Leaf Dao Denier was not defeated and still had the strength to fight. Chapter 5161. Next, Yi Wudao and Kunpingzi fought again. All kinds of great emperor secret techniques appeared. Although Yi Wudao was suppressed and at a disadvantage, he wasn't defeated. This shocked everyone. Even if Yi Wudao wasn't crowned as a king, he had the right to do so. He was known as the uncrowned king. It would be difficult to determine the winner in a short time. Great. The Yi family was overjoyed. Their nurturing was not in vain. As expected, Daolas had a supreme demeanor. The Dragon Prince's eyes shone with a cold light. This was interesting. As expected, every great emperor was unique, seizing the fortune of heaven and earth. I wonder how the void ancient scripture is? He stared at Gu Feng. Gu Feng looked solemn. He snorted and charged forward. His body disappeared instantly. In an instant he was above the 9 heavens. With a wave of his hands, countless cracks appeared in the void. Void banishment. He wanted to banish the Dragon Prince into the darkness of the universe. Everyone was shocked. It was too powerful. It was really a fierce battle. They were extremely excited. Such a battle might not be seen once in a few thousand years. The others on the battlefield also retreated. They didn't have the strength to participate in such a battle. The energy storm could easily injure them, so they all retreated to the edge. The place where the Dragon Prince was instantly swallowed by the darkness and disappeared. The people of the Dragon Palace were nervous, but the people of the Thousand Dragon Dynasty sneered. It was impossible to defeat the Dragon Prince. Indeed, not long after, a dragon claw covered the sky and tore the void. The Dragon Prince came back from the universe and roared furiously. True Dragon 9 transformations. The terrifying giant dragon rolled, and each time it did so, it destroyed the world. Gu Feng felt a great threat. He swept his hands in all directions. So close yet so far. Endless folded space condensed, and terrifying power entered the folded space. Although it looked dangerous, it couldn't hurt him. Void God Finger. After getting rid of the danger, Gu Feng pointed with his finger. Endless mysterious Tao runes appeared on his finger. This was a supreme technique of the void scripture. His finger disappeared in an instant. No one knew where it would come from. Boom. All of a sudden he dashed out in front of the Dragon Prince, aiming for the Dragon Prince's glabella. This finger was capable of destroying everything. The Dragon Emperor was infuriated and struck out with his palm. However, this palm was a combination of illusion and reality. It actually struck empty air. An extremely terrifying radiance erupted from his eyes. Eyes of the divine dragon. Divine light shot out from his eyes, shattering everything. Master Hollow God was blocked. Then the Dragon Prince strode forward. You have angered me. Terrifying killing intent appeared in his eyes as he charged towards Gu Feng. Heavenly Dragon Hand. He stretched out his arm and tore the 9 heavens apart. Gu Feng kept dodging and the two of them started fighting again. The Dragon Prince was very terrifying and he was angry, so Gu Feng was in danger. Fortunately, he cultivated the space god art so he could rely on his elusive movement technique to avoid danger many times. But even so, he was still at a disadvantage. A great battle broke out on the 2 battlefields, and the 2 imperial princes displayed their might. However, the more Leaf Daodenier and Ancient Wind fought, the fiercer they became. He didn't seem to be defeated at all. This left countless people shocked. 2 crowned kings, 2 uncrowned kings, it really was too shocking. The battle continued for 500 moves. Suddenly both sides exploded with power and retreated. The 4 of them spread out in all directions and faced each other. A terrifying aura spread out in all directions. The surrounding people didn't dare to say a word. Their hearts were in their mouths. It was too shocking. Leaf Daodenier didn't attack Kunpingzi anymore. Instead he turned around and looked at Gu Feng. He used the Immortal King Descends to the 9 heavens and charged over. Gu Feng also charged over. Void God Finger. A great battle broke out between the 2 sides and countless people became excited. The 2 uncrowned kings were fighting. What about the 2 crowned kings? They looked at the 2 imperial princes. The Dragon Prince said, I said that I will defeat you with my own hands. I am the strongest imperial prince. He used the true Dragon 9 transformations and charged over. The 9 dragons roared together, and at the same time, their eyes were filled with a destructive divine light that swept through everything. Kunpingzi snorted coldly. You don't have the right. He seemed to have turned into the god of yin and yang, and he was incomparably powerful. Yin and yang alternated, and the universe was reversed. The terrifying world shattered, and the 2 imperial princes finally began to fight. This time the power was too terrifying. Even Leaf Daodenier and Gu Feng quickly retreated. They pulled away. The battle between the 2 imperial princes could destroy everything. The 4 of them exchanged another 600 moves and stood in 4 different directions. Everyone's face was a little solemn. It seemed that if they didn't use their trump cards, they wouldn't be able to determine the winner. The Dragon Prince snorted coldly. I didn't expect that other than Lin Wudi, you 2 would appear. It seems that I have to take out my true trump card. The Dragon Prince's bloodline erupted. A terrifying aura spread between heaven and earth. Leaf Daodenier and Gu Feng looked solemn. Was the final battle about to begin? Kun Pingzi also nodded. It was time to determine the winner. Countless people were excited. They knew that the young paragon would be born between the four of them. Who would it be? The Dragon Prince's aura became more and more terrifying. He had originally prepared this move to deal with Lin Xian. However, it was a pity that he was dead. Well, I'll use this move to send you guys on your way. He was ready to attack. At this moment, an iron staff fell from the sky. Who dares to say that my brother Lin is the younger brother? With a boom, heaven and earth shattered. The Dragon Prince's pupils constricted, and he quickly retreated. Kun Pingzi, Gu Feng and Leaf Daodenier also quickly dodged. The area in front of them instantly turned into chaos. Another expert had arrived? Who was it that could scare off four top-notch experts? Everyone looked carefully. It's him. Some of the older generation exclaimed. They saw a monkey holding an iron staff walking in the air. Wasn't that the monkey who had been crowned king? Back then this monkey had attacked Kun Pingzi and the Dragon Prince. They had not expected him to appear again. It's you? The Dragon Prince's face turned extremely cold. This monkey was in cahoots with Lin Xian. He had once made him grit his teeth. The surrounding people felt their scalps go numb. For example, the geniuses of the Blue Tribe and the Dragon Sea Tribe were terrified. How could they have forgotten that there was such a monkey? He was also on the side of the Divine Union. If the other party attacked them, would they be able to withstand it? At the thought of this, they felt a lingering fear. However, they soon laughed. No matter how strong the other party was, could he defeat the Dragon Prince? The Dragon Prince was definitely the strongest now. After killing this monkey, they would destroy the Divine Union. Let's see who would dare to go against them. The Dragon Prince's face turned cold. Monkey, I've prepared a move for Lin Xian. He won't use it, but it can send you to hell. The Dragon Prince's body exploded with fierce killing intent, sweeping across the 9 heavens. Sun Qiqian shouted coldly, pointing his iron staff forward. You couldn't do anything to me before. Do you think you can hurt me now? Ridiculous. I'll suppress you today. He was fearless. Chapter 5162. Brother Monkey, you don't have to do anything. Let me deal with him. Everyone was stunned when they heard the voice. Who dared to say such big words and call the other party Brother Monkey? Could it be? They thought of a possibility, but it was quickly denied. Wasn't that person already dead? The void in the distance was broken and a figure walked out. Everyone raised their heads and was shocked. It's really him. He's still alive. Great. He's here. The people of the Divine Union were excited. Yi Wudao's lips curled up. I knew it. He couldn't have died. The people of the Dragon Palace were stunned. How could this be? He's still alive. The people of the Blue Tribe were so scared that they almost fainted. Lin Xian, you're still alive? The Dragon Prince gritted his teeth. This was really unexpected. Didn't they say that Lin Xian died in sky punishment? Why is he here? Sun Qiqian laughed out loud. Great. Brother Lin, I knew it. You won't die. Countless voices were heard. Lin Xian's appearance caused a commotion. The older generation experts and terrifying geniuses were all shocked. A dead person was standing in front of them again. He wasn't dead. He had survived sky punishment. Oh my God, the Crown King was still alive. He was indeed a Crown King. This battle was going to be interesting. Everyone was excited. Lin Xian was also the Crown King. Who would be stronger in this battle between the young paragons? Would Lin Xian and the Dragon Prince fight again? Who would win and who would lose this time? Countless questions arose in their hearts. Kun Pingzi's eyes were shining with a cold radiance. Looks like we can still stand against each other. He stared at Lin Xian with a cold radiance in his eyes. Lin Xian nodded. As you wish. However, now is not the time. I'll settle my grudges first. Lin Xian's gaze swept in all directions. He stared at a figure, Long Lei. He took a step forward and stood in front of the other party. You dared to attack the people of the Divine Union and hurt my friend? Lin Xian looked down from above and asked coldly. Long Lei was so scared that she started to tremble. Her expression was even uglier than crying. One had to know that the reason he dared to make a move before was because he knew that Lin Wudi was dead and that he had the Dragon Prince behind him. That was why he dared to attack the Divine Dragon. Now that he was facing Lin Wudi directly, even if he was given 100 guts, he wouldn't dare. What do you want? The Dragon Prince is here. Don't be too arrogant. Long Lei gritted his teeth and said. Lin Xian raised his hand and sent him flying with a slap. The dragon lightning turned into a bloody mist, its body and soul destroyed. Dead. Countless people were terrified. Long Lei was also a genius of his generation, a top-notch expert. Previously he had swept through many experts. But in front of Lin Xian he couldn't even withstand a single slap. This gave everyone a great shock. The 10,000 Dragon Dynasty's people's pupils constricted. How dare you? They shouted angrily. Why wouldn't I dare? Lin Xian turned around and stared at the blue race. You've also attacked the Divine Union before, right? He sent out another slap. The blue race's elite shouted crazily, trying to block it. But with a single slap he turned into a bloody mist. Another one had died. Everyone's hearts pounded violently. He was too powerful. A one-hit kill. He didn't give his enemy any chance to survive. After the blue race, Long High Golden Crow race, and the Purple Mansion race all had top geniuses who were turned into bloody mists by Lin Xian. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 supreme geniuses had fallen. These people couldn't even withstand a single slap. The others were terrified as if they were facing a great enemy. As for the sects and families, they were gnashing their teeth. Damn it. Lin Xian didn't care about these people. He came to Qin Xianer's side and smiled. How serious were the injuries from before? Qin Xianer's eyes were red. She shook her head. She was fine. Her foundation wasn't damaged. Lin Xian said, "Don't worry, I'll take revenge for you." He turned around and stared at Gu Feng. His eyes were shining with a piercing light. It's time for us to settle our grudges. If you apologize to Qin Xianer obediently now, I can spare you once later. What a joke. What right do you have to look for me? Do I need you to spare me? Gu Feng snorted coldly. Lin Xian, you're too arrogant. You killed more than 10 top geniuses the moment you arrived. How dare you threaten me now? Although you're the crown king, I'm also an existence that cultivates the ancient scripture of earth. I can even challenge the Thearcha's son, let alone you. I've long wanted to attack you. I'm not very satisfied with the title of the uncrowned king. I want to kill you and obtain the true title of the crown king. I'm afraid you don't have the strength. Lin Xian strode forward. Then he slapped out. Gu Feng snorted coldly and struck out a huge crack. The collision between the two was earth-shattering. The void above the 9 heavens was broken in an instant. Retreat quickly. The surrounding people all retreated one after another. Another 2 young giants were exchanging blows. The people of the Gu family were extremely nervous. Although Gu Feng's strength had increased greatly, Lin Wudi was too strong previously. Everyone had heard of his reputation and rumors. Now that he had returned to the Yuheng continent, how strong would he be now? The elders of the Gu family said, "Don't worry, with Gu Feng's talent he definitely won't lose this time." That's right, when he fought with the Dragon Prince previously, he was only at a disadvantage. When he fought with Lin Wudi, there wouldn't be any accidents. Maybe the two of them would be evenly matched. Everyone was looking forward to it. Gu Feng's previous performance was enough to shock everyone. Therefore they really wanted to see the next battle. To what extent would it reach? Gu Feng snorted coldly. "Kid, I'll let you know my recent strength." He roared angrily and took the initiative to attack. Void Exile. 24 large cracks enveloped Lin Xian, forming an endless black hole that swallowed Lin Xian. This move was very terrifying. Previously, the Dragon Prince was banished into the void. However, Lin Xian stood there with monstrous sword chi on his body. Countless spatial cracks couldn't swallow him. Oh God. He wasn't banished. Did the power of space lose its effect? This Lin Wudi, has he become so strong? Exclamations sounded one after another. The people of the Gu family were also shocked. Impossible. Void Exile didn't have any effect at all? Even if the other party was banished, they could accept it if he came back in an instant. But now Lin Xian wasn't banished at all. They really couldn't accept it. What a strong physique. Yi Wudao stood in the distance, shocked. The Dragon Prince's face darkened. What? He had a feeling of uneasiness. This Lin Wudi, has he become stronger recently? Lin Xian stood there, allowing the countless large cracks to envelop him. He wasn't afraid of anything. He looked forward and said coldly, "It's useless. You're not my opponent at all. Not in the past, not now, and not in the future. Apologize to Qin Xianer obediently." You want me to apologize? Dream on. Gu Feng was also angry. Void Great Destruction. He formed a seal with his palm, and the power of his bloodline erupted. The great emperor's ancient scripture was activated, and the 24 cracks instantly exploded, emitting a destructive aura. It wanted to tear everything apart. Chapter 5163. Sensing this destructive aura, Lin Xian snorted coldly and clenched his fist. Six-path fist. He punched out with an indomitable will and collided with the destructive power. He charged out aggressively. The destructive spatial cracks were all shattered by him. He charged forward like a god of war. It's useless. I told you you're no match for me. Seeing this scene, countless people were stunned. Oh heavens, he shattered again. The people from the Gu family frowned. Damn it, another divine power has been broken. What was going on? The people from the Thousand Dragon Dynasty, the Yi family, and even the Heaven sect were also frowning. Has Gu Feng become weaker? That's impossible. Previously, Gu Feng was able to resist the Dragon Prince for more than 1,000 moves. How powerful was that? But now he could not do anything to Lin Xian at all. Could it be? They thought of a possibility, but upon closer inspection, they realized that Lin Xian's aura was not that terrifying. Looking at the figure charging towards him, Gu Feng's face turned cold. He did not run away. With a wave of his sleeve he used so close yet so far. A folded space appeared in front of him. It enveloped Lin Xian. Lin Xian felt as if he had fallen into a quagmire, even though he was less than a meter away from his opponent. However, this punch did not seem to be able to hit his opponent at all. Useless brat, your understanding of spatial divine powers is too shallow. Let me show you what it means to be the king of space. Gu Feng stood there looking down like a god. Great, he got hit. The people from the country heaved a sigh of relief. I knew it. How could Gu Feng's method be ineffective? Now that Gu Feng was about to show his power, he was going to beat Lin Xian up. I can't hit you? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. It's just a folded space. A cold light burst out from his eyes, and his fist suddenly exploded. With a bang, the folded space shattered. Gu Feng took a punch to the face and was sent flying. His body flew into the distance like a kite with a broken string, directly shattering the void. He landed on the battlefield. The entire battlefield shook violently, and countless shattered black holes floated between heaven and earth. What happened? Everyone was stunned. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The eyes of the Gu clan's people almost popped out of their sockets. Prince Dragon, Leaf Dao, and the others all gasped. That was impossible. The older generation experts cried out in surprise. Folding space, a distance of 1 meter could be folded millions of miles. Their attacks couldn't hit him at all. Leaf Dao, Dragon Prince, and Kuan Pingzi had all been blocked by the folded space. But now, Lin Xian actually sent Gu Feng flying with a single punch. How did it do that? This guy. Kuan Pingzi's eyes flickered. The Dragon Prince's face was gloomy and cold. Gu Feng, who was in the distance, roared crazily. His face was badly damaged, but it was slowly recovering. His eyes were red and filled with killing intent. Damn it, what's going on? His brain was blank. Damn kid, I'm going to kill you. He quickly charged over. Void God Finger. He pointed out with his finger, appearing and disappearing like a ghost. When he reappeared, he was already at Lin Xian's forehead. It wanted to pierce through his soul. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Demon God Finger. Facing this attack, he was still fearless. He also pointed out with his finger. There were extremely terrifying demonic runes on it. The two collided, shaking heaven and earth. At the last moment, the Void God Finger shattered and broke in half. Gu Feng screamed and retreated. White bones appeared on his finger. That was impossible. Nothing was impossible. He said that he was no match for him. Lin Xian attacked. Demon God Seal. With one strike, a huge black seal enveloped heaven and earth. Gu Feng's pupils shrank. He instantly merged with the void and disappeared, appearing on the other side. However, he was then chased by Lin Xian. If not for his spatial powers, he would have been defeated long ago. Even so, he couldn't fight back. Too powerful. Countless people were shocked by this scene. As expected of Lin Wudi. The person who was crowned as a king was even better than that. Yes, Gu Feng was at a disadvantage against the Dragon Prince. He was still suppressed by Lin Wudi. Moreover, he didn't even have the strength to fight back. It seemed that compared to Lin Wudi, he was still lacking a lot. Some experts commented one after another. The Gu family's people's faces darkened. He couldn't compare to Lin Wudi? Damn it. The 10,000 Dragon Court's people had cold expressions. It seemed that Lin Wudi's strength had also increased. They wondered if the Dragon Prince had the confidence to defeat him this time. Gu Feng was flustered and exasperated when he heard those people's discussion. He had always been suppressed by Lin Xian. Whether it was in the second astral realm or after coming to the hidden Emperor Star. Lin Xian's strength had surpassed his. Now that he cultivated the void ancient scripture, he thought that he could change the situation. He was even very happy that Lin Xian had died. But now that Lin Xian had returned alive and suppressed him, he couldn't tolerate it. Sky-severing palm. With a furious roar, he no longer dodged and struck out with his palm. The strike cut through heaven and earth. The void palm covered the sky and earth, wanting to refine Lin Xian. "You're courting death." Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved his arm. Sword chi shot up into the sky one after another, causing the giant palm in the air to shake non-stop. Then he used Shadowless Heaven's net, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. Azura Sword Technique, Fourth Sword. When the sword slashed out, it shocked heaven and earth. Gu Feng acted as if he was facing a great enemy and hurriedly used it. He merged the void and the real, hiding in the void. However, how could he escape? If he was in the same realm as Lin Xian, it would be easy for him to escape. After all, he also cultivated the great emperor's ancient scripture. But now Lin Xian had become the great sage and his strength had changed dramatically. Moreover, he also used the great emperor's ancient scripture. In addition to the great dragon sword soul's indestructible power, this sword directly pierced through the void. A figure spat out blood and flew out. Half of his body was split open and blood dripped down. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. Gu Feng was injured. He was almost split in half. It was too shocking. Damn it, Gu Feng's broken body had healed, and there was a mysterious aura on it. It recovered. He attacked again. Void seal. He formed a seal with his palm and slapped out. 81 seals between heaven and earth attacked Lin Xian. They hit Lin Xian's body, making a sonorous sound. Lin Xian roared and the 9 yang divine body bloomed, blocking everything. Another sword slashed out. Gu Feng spat out blood again. This time he was completely split open. He screamed and fell into the sea of blood. "Oh, what? Why can you injure me?" Gu Feng was completely stunned. Although he was at a disadvantage in the battle with the Dragon Prince, he didn't suffer such serious injuries. Could it be that this Lin Wuti was even more terrifying than the Dragon Prince? The others were also dumbfounded. Some of the older generation were shocked. The people of the Gu family were crazy. Yi Wudao's pupils shrank, and the Dragon Prince's face turned black. Could it be? Chapter 5164. Why did he lose so miserably? Gu Feng roared crazily. He couldn't accept it. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "Stupid thing, do you really not understand the difference between us? You're not in the same realm as me. If you hadn't cultivated the ancient void scripture, you would have died 100 times. A cold voice sounded, making Gu Feng despair. In the next moment he seemed to have thought of something and roared in horror. Not in the same realm? Could it be that you've broken through to become a great sage? The surrounding spectators also sucked in a breath of cold air. Indeed, they also had such thoughts. Even the crown prince couldn't beat Gu Feng to such a miserable state. After all, they didn't use any extreme weapons. Now that Lin Xian had injured Gu Feng so easily, there was only one explanation. That meant that Lin Xian's strength was more than 10 times stronger than before. And such a change in strength could only be caused by a breakthrough in cultivation. However, Lin Xian's cultivation wasn't that terrifying, which was why they were puzzled. Lin Xian stood there and said proudly, "That's right, I'm now a great sage." Boom boom. His voice was like thunder from the 9 heavens, causing everyone to be stunned. He broke through, he really broke through. Countless people exclaimed. The experts of the clan of the ancients and the peerless sects gasped. The people of the Gu family and the Yi family were also shocked. The people of the 1,000 Dragon Court instantly had ugly expressions. The people of the 3 Dao children's side exclaimed. One had to know that the battle between the young powerhouses was a competition of cultivation, trump cards and divine abilities. The 4 people in front of them were all peak sage kings. Although there was a difference in bloodline, they all cultivated the ancient earth scripture. Therefore it was difficult to determine the winner. Even if the 2 crown princes had the upper hand, it wouldn't be easy to defeat the other 2. There was only one situation where they could win completely, and that was to break through to become a great sage first. This was also the reason why the Dragon Prince wanted to hold the supreme battle. They had already reached a bottleneck in their cultivation and needed a life and death battle. They needed pressure to break through. But now Lin Xian had broken through in advance, which ruined the Dragon Prince's plan. Everyone was shocked. Perhaps Lin Xian was already above everyone else. Damn it, I don't believe it. You broke through? Gu Feng roared furiously, charging over again. Using his spatial divine art, he appeared behind Lin Xian and struck out with the great palm print and the sky-severing palm. However, Lin Xian sent him flying with a kick. This was a complete beating. Gu Feng felt despair. The other party had really broken through. Lin Xian chased after him with large strides. Shadowless heaven's net, his speed was unpredictable. The heavenly secret's sacred art locked onto the other party. At the same time, the unstoppable sword qi in his hand descended. Gu Feng screamed miserably as his body shattered several times. Lin Xian sneered and apologized to Qin Xianer. Gu Feng spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn it, they've gone too far. Lin Xian coldly snorted. He drew the 100,000 devil mountains, suppressing heaven and earth. When you attacked Qin Xianer, did you think that you were going too far? If you don't apologize, don't blame me for killing you. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Boom. Gu Feng roared furiously, and an extremely terrifying aura suddenly erupted from his body, destroying heaven and earth. Everyone's hair stood on end. The might of the extreme Tao. It seemed that the void mirror was also on the other party. Gu Feng descended like a god. At this moment he was extremely powerful. Kid, do you want me to use my final trump card? Feeling the extreme Tao Qi, Lin Xian was still not afraid. Do you think you're the only one with an extreme Tao weapon? Besides, isn't this a battle between young sovereigns? Do you want to use an extreme Tao weapon? Do you want to be ridiculed by the world? Someone like you wants to be crowned a king? You dare to call yourself a sovereign? Do you have any shame? Don't make me look down on you. Lin Xian sneered. Gu Feng's expression turned ugly, but he did not make a move. The others were also discussing this matter. Lin Xian's coronation was the peak of the sacred Abyss Tower. It was obtained with one's own strength. Whether it was Lin Xian, the Dragon Prince, or Kuan Peng, none of them were able to use an extreme Tao weapon when they ascended the sacred Abyss Tower. This was the result of countless trials and tribulations. Now, Gu Feng wanted to forcibly use an extreme Tao weapon. This was already a sign of admitting defeat. Moreover, would he be able to kill Lin Xian with just an extreme-grade weapon? Everyone did not think so. Previously, the Dragon Prince had also used the 10,000 Dragons diagram, but he was also helpless against Lin Xian. On the Divine Union's side, the dark red dragon snorted. Hurry up and scram. Don't embarrass yourself. Toad sneered. You dare to participate in the battle between sovereigns? Is there no one else in the Gu family? The people beside him mocked and ridiculed while the others discussed. The Gu family was trembling with anger. Gu Feng also shouted angrily. Shut up. Kid, just you wait. He did not continue to fight. Instead, he stayed in the void with a gloomy expression. Lin Xian did not let him off. I said apologize to Qin Xing, otherwise even if you use the void mirror today I can still make you regret it. Countless terrifying black holes appeared around Lin Xian. Everyone's expression turned ugly. If the two extreme Tao weapons were used, the primordial battlefield would be penetrated. The Gu family's expert shouted angrily, Lin Wudi, don't be too presumptuous. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly. I am presumptuous. What can you do about it? He waved his hand and the terrifying black holes charged toward the Gu family. The Gu family's elders were scared out of their wits. They all used spatial teleportation to escape quickly. When they reached the other side, their faces turned green. Damn it, this was a lunatic. He did things without any scruples. Should he apologize? Lin Xian sneered. The Gu family's people were helpless. An elder said, Gu Feng apologized to Fairy Qin. Fairy Qin does not have the strength of the arch. It is not appropriate for you to attack her. Gu Feng gritted his teeth. Was this asking him to lower his head? However, he was in a difficult position now. If they really fought, he would not be able to gain any advantage. Therefore, after thinking for a long time, he gritted his teeth and said, Fairy Qin, I was rude before. I hope you don't blame me. Qin Xianger's mind was blank. She had never thought that Gu Feng would apologize to her. He was a young powerhouse, an existence above the 9 heavens. Of course, all of this was because of Lin Xian. The surrounding people were also going crazy. A thearch-level genius actually lowered his head. This Lin Wudi was too domineering. Lin Wudi snorted coldly. I'll spare your life today, but I won't let you off so easily next time. After saying that, he turned to look at the Dragon Prince and said coldly, let me see what kind of breakthrough you've made recently. I hope you won't disappoint me. The surrounding people were in an uproar. Countless people widened their eyes in disbelief. Heavens, is Lin Wudi going to attack the Dragon Prince? Exclamations sounded one after another. From the moment he appeared, he directly killed more than 10 geniuses and then beat up Gu Feng. He made Gu Feng lower his head and apologize. Then he directly challenged the Dragon Prince. His speed was so fast and his attitude was so strong that it exceeded everyone's strength. The expressions of the people from the 10,000 Dragons court changed. No. The current Lin Xian had already broken through and was above the arch. If he fought the Dragon Prince now, wouldn't that be bullying? The elder of the nest of 10,000 dragons stood out. Lin Xian, don't go too far. You are already the great sage, what right do you have to challenge the Dragon Prince? That's right. Chapter 5165. The people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty roared. They wouldn't allow this battle to happen. Looking at this scene, Lin Xian smiled. Why are you afraid? I'm not challenging you. Do you have the right to talk to me? He turned to look at the Dragon Prince and said coldly. What? As the son of the Dragon Emperor, you don't even have the courage to talk to me? Shut up. How dare you? An elder of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty walked out and shouted coldly. If you want to fight with the Dragon Prince, suppress your cultivation. That's right, otherwise don't blame us for being impolite. Even if you win, it won't be honorable. Angry shouts sounded one after another. Lin Xian laughed out loud when he heard that. He looked down at the 8 barren lands and said in a clear voice, one with an unfair advantage? Suppress cultivation? What a joke. Let me ask you, what was the Dragon Prince's cultivation during the coronation? What was my cultivation? When he fought with me, did he suppress his cultivation? Hearing this, everyone was stunned. The people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty also had ugly expressions because they remembered that the Dragon Prince was at the peak of his cultivation during the coronation. Lin Xian was only at the late stage, so there was a difference of 1 realm between them. When the two of them fought, the Dragon Prince didn't suppress his cultivation. What? Do you remember everything? Back then, the Dragon Prince was 1 realm higher than me. Didn't I still fight with him? Did I ask him to suppress his cultivation? Where were you old things back then? Why don't you say that the Dragon Prince won with an unfair advantage? Back then, I was 1 realm lower than him, but I could still injure him. Now that he's 1 realm lower than me, does he not have confidence? Lin Xian stared at the Dragon Prince with a piercing gaze. Do you dare to fight with me? If you don't, then you're a piece of trash. From now on, you have no right to fight with me. You don't deserve to be my enemy. The people of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty roared in anger. They could tell that Lin Xian's words were aimed at the Dragon Prince's heart. Even if the Dragon Prince didn't fight, this matter would still be a knot in his heart. It would probably leave a shadow, which was very fatal for martial arts cultivation. How did you break through? The Dragon Prince asked coldly, his eyes dark. Lin Xian laughed heartily. You really disappoint me. You actually didn't accept my challenge. Instead, you asked me how I broke through. Are you envious? Well, as the son of the Dragon Emperor, you don't seem to put anyone in your eyes. You think you're the most talented, so you should be the first to break through, right? You have an emperor race as resources, and you have the strongest bloodline, but you still break through slower than me. Your talent is far inferior to mine. What qualifications do you have to be arrogant in front of me? I, Lin Xian, do not have the imperial bloodline, nor do I have the imperial bloodline to rely on, but I still broke through to the great sage before you. There was no need to compare who was stronger or weaker. You are not qualified to be my opponent. Lin Xian retracted his gaze and stood in the air with his hands behind his back. It's lonely at the top, being invincible is really lonely. Countless people looked up. The members of the Divine Union raised their arms and cheered loudly. The great sage was invincible. The others were also shocked. The Lin Wuti from before had already grown to such a level? Had he suppressed the Dragon Prince to the point where he couldn't even raise his head? The Dragon Prince was furious. Shut up, who says I don't dare to fight? So what if you break through? I can still defeat you. The Dragon Prince's battle intent gradually exploded. Prince, you can't. The members of the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty were anxious. The Dragon Prince waved his hand. Everyone, there's no need to say any more. I believe in my bloodline and talent. Not to mention that he's only in the early stage of the Great Sage. I can even kill someone in the middle stage of the Great Sage, or even the late stage of the Great Sage. Not to mention him. I won't fear this battle and I won't lose either. Lin Wuti, attack. I'll let you know that the difference in cultivation is nothing to the Emperor's son. Oh, you want to attack? Alright, I'll let you use one hand. Lin Xian only stretched out one hand and waved it forward. Attack or you won't have a chance. Damn it, you dare to look down on me? The Dragon Prince hollered in rage and charged over. True Dragon 9 transformations. 9 giant dragons circled around his body. Each time they rolled, they brought with them a destructive power. Lin Xian's demon god seal hit the True Dragon 9 transformations and cracks appeared on it. The dragon prince retreated. Damn, so strong. For the first time he was shocked. That power made him feel a trace of fear. Lin Xian scoffed coldly. Is this your strength? You can't even take a single hit. Don't disappoint me. Take out your strongest technique. Dragon God Fist. The dragon prince clenched his fists and waved them about. Each punch would send out a true dragon. They danced in the air. It was also the Dragon Emperor's technique. Lin Xian used the six-path fist to fight back. His unstoppable power shattered those true dragons. The six-path world suppressed them. At the same time he said that he was too weak. There was only one reason why he was so arrogant, and that was to target the Tao heart of the Dragon Prince. He knew that it was impossible for him to kill the Dragon Prince in such a situation. But he wouldn't let him off. He wanted to shatter his Tao heart. He wanted to make him feel despair. To a genius, despair and stagnation in their cultivation was worse than death. This was Lin Xian's goal. His words hit the heart. The Dragon Prince was really mad. A golden light flashed in Lin Xian's eyes. His powerful eye technique combined with his sharp words. He said coldly, "It seems like even if I give you a handicap of one hand, you won't be my match. Okay, I will let you see the great sage's strength." After saying that, he formed a seal. The Taiji diagram appeared and slapped forward. Yin-yang energy covered the sky and sent the Dragon Prince flying. One of the Dragon Prince's arms broke and cracks appeared on his body. The Dragon Emperor's blood scattered in the sky. "Oh, Prince." The people from the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty went crazy. The others were shocked too. Kun Pengzi's pupils constricted. How did he know the power of Yin-yang? His eyes shone with black and white light as he stared at the Taiji diagram. At this moment the others were also shocked. This Lin Xian actually knows the power of Yin-yang. Why do I feel that his law of Yin-yang is not weaker than Kun Pengzi's? Heavens, he actually has such a trump card. The Dragon Prince spat out blood and flew backward. His face was pale. How was that possible? He felt that the attack just now had caused him to lose a lot of vitality. He had only felt the law of Yin-yang from Kun Pengzi. It was so terrifying. He didn't expect Lin Xian to have it too. Lin Xian looked forward and shook his head. An ant was pitifully weak. Oh. The Dragon Prince spat out blood again. He didn't believe it. He took out his dragon spear and charged over again. At this moment, the illusion of a true dragon circled around him. It was the illusion of his bloodline. He used his bloodline to the extreme. Competing in weapons? Lin Xian took out the great spear of destruction. Demonic energy surged from his body. It was as if he had turned into a demon god. The two collided, shaking heaven and earth. However, after 3 moves the Dragon Prince was suppressed. He was sent flying and smashed into the void. To be honest, I can suppress you in all aspects. It seems that you really don't have any surprises at all. Then let's end it. A terrifying aura erupted from Lin Xian's eyes. The Taiji diagram appeared again, turning into the Yin God and Yang God. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.